This video contains commentary and analysis of a YouTube video and may include copyrighted material. The use of such material is in accordance with the fair use provisions of Section 107 of the United States copyright law. The commentary provided is for criticism, commentary educational purposes, and aims to contribute to public discourse and understanding. The use of copyrighted material is transformative and adds significant value to the original content. The inclusion of any copyrighted material is not intended to infringe upon copyright, and I strive to use what is necessary to support the commentary. This video expresses the opinions of the creator and should not be considered as professional advice. The creator make no representations or warranties regarding the accuracy or completeness of the information provided. Viewers are encouraged to engage in their own independent research and critical thinking. The creator does not endorse or promote any specific products, services, or views unless explicitly stated. By watching this video, you agree to the terms mentioned in this disclaimer. Thank you.
Hello, hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. Hope you are all doing well. I am great and not triggered, so I'm having a better day than some people on these YouTube streets. Woo wee. Boy, someone needs to take a nap, drink some milk. Goodness. What the baby gonna do? Bless his heart. Roddy, I agree. I actually became aware of this whole Lady Bird Lake thing because Ruben told me about it a couple weeks ago, and I kind of, like dabbled in it a little, and then the more we got into Riley's case, and more importantly, or not more importantly, I hate when I say dumb stuff. Um, Also, we kind of center focused on the amount of people that similar situations have happened to on Broadway, or specifically, like Broadway bars, and then they end up in the Cumberland River. Well, there's like this exact scenario that seems to be repeating itself in downtown Austin, Texas. And it's like the same scenario. It's men for the most part. There is a few women, but for the most part, it's mostly men. And they are out drinking and on this street like Broadway, but this is called Rainy Street. And they're either, they're at these not a specific bar, but a handful somewhere, one of the bars on the strip, and they somehow or one another they get separated from their group or their friends or who they're with and end up by themselves missing, and then ultimately end up deceased in this lake. And when I tell you, like, a lot, like, I'm not talking like, oh yeah, maybe once every once a year, which is a lot. Like, I'm talking like once a month, like sometimes twice a month. I mean, and the thing that got my attention and got my spidey senses tingling, and what really got me to like, okay, this is where I'm going next, is because it's like deja vu when you hear this law enforcement prematurely, and I will say that with confidence because that is exactly what it is. It is very, very lazy to just say this. No foul play suspected. Like, I'm about one more of those away from losing my shit. Like, stop saying that. What are you talking about? Ugh, any Hoosers. So here we are. Um, it's it's very, very disturbing because it's like, uh okay, I'm gonna be careful what I say and how I say it, because I don't necessarily have a theory yet as far as to who or what or why it's happening. Regardless, I am just here today to try to make some of it make sense, but more importantly, I just want to make it known to somebody else because I know I didn't know about it, so I'm gonna do my due diligence and pass it on to someone else, but why does nobody care to find out what's happening to these people? They're not just getting drunk and walking into this lake and or this river in Nashville. Like, you're not gonna convince me that that's an acceptable answer and that you expect these families to get sleep at night with you saying that that's the best you can do. I'll be gosh darned. No, 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 boo boo. No, no. Like, and why are we being why is this okay as far as like police work? Like, don't say underfunded or under resourced because you're not asking for help. You're just accepting that you're just going to no foul play. Well, define foul play because I beg to differ. And I think it's time to put some heat on these good old boys and see if we can't shake something loose because this is just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So let's just get right into it. So Ruben sent me this link to this documentary that absolutely just floored me. I was mad, I was sad, I was shocked, I was disgusted, I was flabbergasted, I was mortified. I mean all of those things combined all at one time. And it is absolutely unacceptable. And now the tone of this documentary is kind of like maybe, is there a serial killer? But some would say with that many people dying in a similar fashion in a same area would be grounds to say that's what's happening. But I, however, am not deep enough into this that I can say that I have a theory yet. However, there is a serial event of people that are just going out with their friends and not coming home. And if I'm not gonna like I don't. Oh my God, there's a serial killer. Well, they're kind of. I'm not gonna say there's not. Okay, let's just leave it at that. And these people or these men are dads, their sons, their uncles, their cousins, their brothers that were just enjoying a Friday night out, Saturday night out, and didn't come home, and their families are just supposed to accept that. Oh my God, how could he just get so drunk that he just walked off from everybody and just walked into the water and drowned? Like, in most of these cases, I've tried to like get into the nitty gritty, like autopsy, police report. There's like absolutely the bare minimum on all of them. So I don't know if there's water in their lungs or nothing. It's just so freaking sketchy. Like, it's really just pissing me off. I'm just gonna stop beating around the bush. Like, what the freak, fridge toast? Austin, like, come on, with these big cities that are such tourist attractions, y'all got to do better or stop it. Stop attracting people to come there if you're not gonna fucking do your due diligence to make sure people are safe. Put a fucking fence around it. If you really think people are drunk and wandering into this lake, why isn't there a 12-foot fence around it? Or better yet, why haven't you drained it? What the fuck are you talking? Oh, so excuse my language, but it just irks my soul. That is a lazy, unacceptable. It just up, pass it off, and that's not. This is people's lives. These are people's loved ones. This is not. This is not just. You have no right to do that. You took an oath to protect and serve everybody, not just who you pick and choose, and not just who you feel like is worthy of your time. That holds no prejudice. This is unacceptable that you are treating your community this way. And I'm talking to you, Chief Dodo. I'm coming for you. All right, so we're gonna listen to this, and then I'm gonna go and we're gonna play the documentary, and I'm gonna do commentary over it. I found it on Long Crime Network, so it's considered like a news outlet, so I won't get in trouble for it. But I'm gonna do commentary over it also because the parts where it pisses me off, y'all are gonna know it. You should expect it. It's why you're here, right? No, I'm like really like, whoo, like this is just crazy. Like, it's just it's sad. It's all of the things. So buckle up, Buttercup. Y'all are about to get All kind. You're gonna feel some type of way. That would be a good way to say it. All the types of ways. And if you get mad at me, blame Ruben. That's what I do. Yeah, open panel, Ruben, anybody, you're more than welcome to come up. If you have insight on this and you live around there, or even if you're a familiar, or I would absolutely love to hear your insight. If you don't want to come up, you can absolutely put it in the chat. Like, this is just we're going to do things how we've been doing it, just open think tank, and we're going to get her did, get her done, and see where it leads.
In 20 months, cops say. Now a family wants answers. From Texas lake in 20 months, cops say. Now a family wants answers. A dead woman was pulled from Lady Bird Lake in Austin, cops say. Texas police said the case was not a homicide, but her case was far from the first for the lake. Over the last 20 months, over 10 bodies have been pulled from the same lake, according to Austin police records. The first recorded death in this string was Ricky Parks in July 2022. According to Austin EMS and reporting from multiple news outlets. Xen reported the death investigation for 59-year-old Parks closed the next month after no foul play was detected. According to Inside Edition and Xen, police came to the same conclusion for 3 other cases between 2022 and 2023, Christopher Gutierrez, Kyle Thornton and Christopher Hayes Clark. Police are not trying to do anything, they just close the cases, and they just deem the death undetermined or a drowning. And then they just move on with no answers. Nothing for the families, Regan Aparicio, the mother of Hayes Clark, told Fox 7. The family of Hayes Clark is calling on local police to take action as the death toll in the lake continues to rise, Fox 7 reported. Austin police said they are aware of the numerous drownings at Lady Bird Lake. While each incident has occurred at the lake, the circumstances, exact locations. Just a quick word from our sponsor.
In St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra, make time to get lost in history and culture, and time to discover yourself somewhere along 42 miles of stunning coast. Visit floridashistoriccoast.com to learn more. It's about time.
And demographics surrounding these cases vary, according to a statement sent to Inside Edition. The statement attributed alcohol and the lake's easy access points to some of the drownings. In addition to the 4 cases with no foul play found, Austin police said 2 people, Jason John and Jonathan Honey, drowned accidentally, news outlets and police reports show. Just 1 death of the 10 was confirmed as a homicide. Josue Moreno was shot while driving and his truck ended up in the water, according to police records. In another case, Clifton Axtell's cause of death could not be determined, according to Xen. Austin police said most of the incidents occurred after 10 p.m. Swimming is illegal at Lady Bird Lake, according to the city. The lake is a dammed part of the Colorado River. Bodies found in Lady Bird Lake. Ricky Parks, July 2022. Christopher Gutierrez, December 2022. Josue Moreno, December 2022. Kyle Thornton, December 2022.
This
Jason
is 1
John,
month!
February 2023.
What the fuck?
Clifton Axtell, March 2023. Christopher Hayes Clark, April 2023. Jonathan Honey, April 2023. Maga Dogale, June 2023. Unidentified female, February 2024.
Next article.
Man threatens massacre at church.
What the hell is happening in Austin, Texas? That should be on every headline.
You're right. And I don't know if you had touched on this, but so a lot of these missing, a lot of them are men, for one.
Yes.
And there's no specific ethnicity other than they're men. I'm not sure if there's an age range.
But you mostly between 20 and 30, but the occasional
Right.
like 2 or 3, they're like in their 40s. But for the most part, they're anywhere from 20 to 30.
Correct. There was one person that I know
Was
survived.
50. Yes. He's in the documentary.
Okay, good.
And blew my mind because he was at like a comedy concert, like a comedy show.
So this is kind of like similar to the Riley kid. It in this downtown Austin area it's like a college area.
Mm-hmm.
So there's bars and stuff like that. But
Right.
similar to that area in Tennessee to where like towards the water, and it gets like desolate. You know what I mean, dark and stuff like that. There's no people around, and so
Right,
there's
pitch black.
all these
But
people
it's like
walking into
there's
the river.
nothing that says that these people should be leaving the bar and be like, "Hey, this is a good idea."
Right.
Like this, just not. It's like I can understand how Riley got mixed up. It makes no sense how these men have ended up where they have ended up. And the one that lived, like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He wasn't supposed to, and I think they threw him off that bridge.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's, and I think like he has some memory memory lapses as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I don't think he remembers anything.
Right, right. I can't remember exactly how his thing goes, but it's very eerie that it's Tennessee and this area, and there's a body
Junkenstein said
of
it
water.
happening in Michigan too. Like I guess I think they said maybe Chicago or Michigan. That like
It's very similar. I mean, the
right. It's like opportunistic, but yeah, I think that's what they said. Hold on, let me see. I have to scroll up a little bit.
so I mean, it could be like I when do you say coincidence is not coincidence anymore? You know what I'm saying? Like if
I
those
don't
people
believe
that
in
believe in
coincidences.
I don't believe in coincidence either. But for those who do, when do you stop saying this is just a coincidence? You know what I mean? There's so many people like the thing that just named off these people. That was 1 month.
Right. Yes. Okay, Junkenstein said we have something similar in Chicago in Lake Michigan.
Yeah. See, so
Is that like a college,
and I don't
like
think
a
it's
touristy area or like a college area? Because that, like, I'm wanting to like get to the bottom of it. Like, why, like, what are they? Is it really just for the robbing, or is it just? My gut says it just seems bigger and more nefarious than that. Because you can rob
it
people, you
is.
can
I
roof
think
them and
it's
rob them and not have to kill them.
well. Here's the thing: like women would be an easier
Right.
target. Why men? Why go out? Men would seem to me it would be harder targets to
Right,
go
and it's
after.
like you can roofie them and rob them, and they'd have no recollection of it and couldn't report it. Like you don't have to unalive them to rob them.
Right,
It seems like there's just you know w- like with Riley specifically, like I'm gonna give his family time to grieve and respectfully keep my distance, for now. But I am absolutely not. There's no way he went in the water where we're supposed to believe he went in the water by himself without assistance. There was unless he's I believe I can fly. We would have seen him. Even if he jumped as far as his little heart could desire, he wouldn't have made it to the water. And I don't
right,
care if it was 12 feet
right.
higher. It's just not. You're not going to convince me that's what happened. No, he had his watch and had
Yeah,
his phone. So why would they do that and not take his stuff? I'm like, I'm floored.
until there's the video
Yeah.
that the parents have seen,
Mm-hmm.
unless they release that video, then we're not gonna know.
Right,
You know
but
what I'm
I want to know:
saying?
is there water in his lungs? Because all that shit matters.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that this family's gonna ask for an autopsy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
That's
I'm
what
already thinking
I hope they do
too.
one like they do one locally and not there. I hope they like do their own and
Right.
because I don't the fact that he was so eager like this guy in Austin to come up and say, "Oh, we just got him out of the water, but I'm telling you there's no foul play." That's fucking suspicious to me. Like cuz you don't got to say that. And that's just ignorant. You don't know. You're not
Well,
a medical
it's
examiner. How do you tell by looking at him? You don't even know whether if he's had what in his system, toxicology speaking, if he has
absolutely.
what, how, what? That's just a very ignorant and careless thing to say.
It's they're saying this before there is even like they're looking at the body really.
Because he doesn't want people to stop coming for their touristy thing, and that's fucking disgusting and unacceptable.
Well,
People should take pause. People should
what?
be concerned. People should be aware of what they are getting themselves into when they come there, so they can protect themselves.
Well, that's why you're doing what you're doing right now, and
We gonna bump heads eventually. Bald headed douche nozzle.
you know what I mean. So this way we can inform people, and this way, they can inform their family members and whatnot
And
that live around that
right,
area.
and I'm not trying to scare people from going there. I just want you to know that if you do, be aware and protect yourself. Buddy system. Do not leave your drink unattended. Do not go anywhere by yourself. And I mean that. And that's not just in Nashville. Anywhere. Just
Right, correct.
we don't live in a safe society anymore, unfortunately, and you can thank our government for that. And I'm just gonna get real specific. You can thank Biden for that.
Now,
It is not safe right now.
you could thank people for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm not gonna beat around the bush because it was not like this a few years ago. And let's just be honest. There's
Well,
people that are here that we don't even know where they come from, that their fingerprints aren't even on record, that can do whatever the fuck they want. And when they do come and do an investigation, they're not on record because they're not supposed to be here. We got a big fucking problem, guys.
This is going back like way past.
Yeah, but it has gotten really bad really fast.
It's because there's
really
a lack
bad.
of law enforcement, a lack of law enforcement.
Yeah, they defunded them. Now who are you going to call? Pittsburgh. I seen this shit on the news the other day. Pittsburgh, if at a certain time at night, if you call 911 and it's not what they consider to be an active emergency, like in right now, like they're not coming. They're gonna put you. They're gonna put you on to AI, a robot, and you leave a message, and they'll get to you when they get to you. If like a robbery, like if it's not life or death, like they're not coming. What?
Right.
That is scary.
So Roddy said that you're right. It's not just tourists in this area of Austin. I don't think they're targeting. Well, you know, a lot of them are tourists that come from out of town and stuff like that to come party or whatever. But there are some locals, but the majority are tourists, or let's just say don't live in the area. It's not like they're coming from out of state. They just don't live in Austin or whatever.
I cannot have said that better, Puff. And hashtag do not be an easy target. At the end of the day, you can't expect anybody to protect you whenever you do your due diligence to protect yourself, and more importantly, protect your children.
Absolutely.
Make sure they are aware and they don't have this coddled sense of, oh my God, the world's a safe place and everybody's nice. They need to be aware of the realities and just the fact that it is not okay to go somewhere by yourself or leave your buddy behind.
Yeah, okay. In that situation with the Riley kid, I'd fit to be tied to talk to them frat kids. If I was the parents, I'd be knocking skulls out. Like, how in the fuck do you leave your frat brother behind? Like I don't belong to no frat, no gang or nothing like that. You know what I mean? But me and the homies go out, or when we used to. If they were so smashed, one of us might drive them home and shit, get them home, and then drive back to wherever the party was, to the club and shit. You know what I mean? Like, we made sure the homie got home. We didn't say like, oh, you know what? Oh, he looks like he's going in the right direction.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, oh, I have to because I'm going to get in trouble. Like, you genuinely cared about your buddy getting home. Like, when did that change? When did people get so cold and so self-centered? Like, because I don't feel like Riley would have did that to them. I don't know them, but I felt like if it was the other way around, that Riley would have been the one to leave with them. That's just what my gut tells me. Like, why him?
Well, some friends are better friends to others than others are.
Yeah, but I mean, God, that's a whole fucking lineup. That's a whole fucking baseball team of just shit friends. A fraternity. What the?
Right.
Pish posh.
Right. But that's. So I'll just say this, you know what I mean? The nature of the game. If you're going to play the game, then you're subject to the rules of the game, even if the other team cheats.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you don't get a special trophy because you played fair.
No. You know what I mean? So just because you go and you abide by laws and stuff like that, doesn't mean that everybody else does. You know what I mean? Just make sure.
Doesn't mean that you're not going to come across them just because y'all happen to that's the way fate works.
You can be the biggest, baddest mofo on earth, you know what I'm saying? But I've seen the biggest, baddest mofos that I know get knocked the fuck out. And hurt as well by small ass motherfuckers too.
I don't, I can't wrap my head around like why, why if when you have the element into them that they're roofied because they clearly the ones that live don't remember anything.
Right.
Why do you have to unalive them? What is the gain? What is the gain unless it's some, and what are the odds of them being?
So that they don't get caught. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if they're roofied, they don't remember anything.
You don't take that chance. This is a chance that they might.
For a phone and a couple of debit cards?
Katie, I've seen people get a lot worse from a lot
Is
less.
that where we're at as a society? Cheese and rice.
I mean, I could tell everybody a story real quick that, I mean, you would be like,
Please
no,
do.
no,
Yeah,
it's
please do, because I cannot wrap my head around it. Like, I'm not saying that we don't have bad people where I'm from, because trust me, we do. But this is like mind blowing to me. We don't have shit like this. Grady is not. He don't have unsolved crimes, and if so, it's not for a long period of time. He takes pride in
right.
solving shit quick. Like I've never heard of no shit like this.
Well,
It's mind boggling.
for one, it's not making national headlines, which that boggles the mind itself. You know what I mean? Why is this not national news and stuff like this? Why is it even not
Yeah,
even like the mediocre news?
yeah, I had to do some serious like searching to find it.
How come people around that area aren't trying to put out this this thing? Like, you know what? There's something going on in Austin right here,
Yeah, that's a big, like
and
that's a big town.
and
Like that's a
it's
big.
the same thing. How come those people over there that stay over there? How come nobody's like saying, "Look, there's some weird shit going on over here"? Nobody's making no big deal about it. You know why? Remember when JLR was walking through and he was videotaping, and I was like, "Hey, who is that in the corner?" And there was like, I think like a homeless person in the corner right there. That's what we tend to do these days. You know what I mean? I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying the good people in here or whatever. But a lot of people, that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? We walk and we don't even notice the person that was sitting right there in the corner, that homeless person. You know what I'm saying? We just keep to our own and go about our day. You know,
We got
I,
to do better.
I would think, and I don't know about everybody else, but um, and I'm pretty sure it started before the lockdowns and all that crap. But
Why is
something,
nobody listening to him, Junkin' C?
something shifted. You know what I mean? To where I don't know the what would you say, the human part of people is it's just like it's not there anymore.
Just the decency, the
Right,
the just the give a fuck.
right.
We got to do better. I mean, we have to. I mean, if we keep going at this rate, there's not going to be much of a society left for our kids. It's just going to be a bunch of wolves fighting for a fucking piece of food.
Yeah,
Like what the hell? Like when did we? I just I the people that I surround myself with that I have in my real life, my Meemaw, the one that raised me, like she's the most empathetic person you would ever meet. Like she just felt things. People that she didn't meet, she'd see things on TV and she'd cry. And she,
right,
and that is just, and that was embedded in me. And it's just so fucking weird for me when I'm like, how do you just not care about nothing but yourself? Like, oh, it's so fucking weird.
right. Roddy, I I hear you on that, but what you see is not like nearly as what's how much is going on. There's a
Oh,
lot going on that if people did a little bit of research, you'd be pretty shocked that this isn't something new, especially with the kid stuff. Like this isn't something new. It's not something that just happens in third world countries. Matter of fact, the United States is the number one of that stuff like that. So that being said, let's get back
wow.
to this right here. Um, yeah. So Founder had compassion, empathy, and stuff like this. But what can we do? Well, you're gonna do this right now. You know what I mean? And show people, make them think like, look, just don't go. You can go have a good time, just don't think that you're invincible and stuff. Don't think that this cannot happen to you.
So is there anybody here that lives in Texas or close to Austin? And if you do, have you heard about this like on your local news? Is it just because I'm so far away that I had to do so much digging, or is it like hush hush like locally too?
It's I think it's hush hush a little bit.
Mm, wow. American Honey, is that close to you? I know Texas is a big state. Don't get me wrong. I do get that, but couldn't shoot. I'll have to ask her. She was texting me earlier.
I think she'd make a dinner.
Hmm. Like it's you would think there would be news conference after, but there's just not. Like I find like a news clipping here and there, like no fucking police reports, just police statements that are literally like copied and pasted from the one I read before. Like what is this?
Like the reports from the Robertson case, right? I'm looking at these things and I'm like who wrote these? You know what I'm saying? Like a fifth grader. There's no detail. There's no specific scenarios. One of them doesn't mention the second girl, and this. I mean,
No, they don't even reference one another.
right? Either there's there a lack of police training or something, or
No,
just
no.
big old give a fuck. You know what I mean?
No, at this point, no way. I mean, I have no law enforcement training. If anything, I have the ability to know how to get, dodge them, and and so if anything, like I don't have no investigation skills. And the first time I looked at these cases and I just seen the location and the time period, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. There's no way with law enforcement training that they can't sit there and their minds automatically just start putting dots together. And if they don't, they should be in a different line of work.
Right. Well, true that. Very true that. That or they need
And
to implement the neighborhood watch again.
yeah, I'm not getting that it's and if so, that's some Willie March shit. You're not that dumb. You are in on it. That and I'm just that's just where I'm at with that. It pays to play dumb.
Right.
In that case, oh, we were just podunk. Yeah, mother. Yeah, but as you're calling the fucking dealer nephew, yeah, okay, I'm on to you.
Right. He said it didn't ring at first.
Yeah. Ha ha.
Oh man.
Son of a bitch.
So what you got for us?
Okay, yeah. Let me share screen.
What we got hurt? I mean, in all jokes to the side, people, this is just like something serious. I mean, and this
Yeah, like
on for a long time.
I'm laughing because that's how much of a joke that it is that the police are confidently saying this is giving the families closure. Like
Right.
this is so far from acceptable. Like I'm laughing because if not, I want to get like stabby and start dropping F-bombs, but we're only 30 minutes in. We got a ways to go before I start doing that.
Right. And just imagine like when you were watching this, you know what I'm saying? If I don't have kids, you know what I mean? But I can imagine if I had kids, how upset I would be if I was given this blanket statement of bullshit. You know what I mean? And those who have kids, what your kids are like. You know what I'm saying? Not that you know what they're doing 24/7. You know what I mean? But basically how your kids are or your husbands or whatever. So when they go out, you're gonna think like, that just doesn't sound like them, right? So
Right, and exactly. Yes. Yep. And when they're like, "Oh, well, how do you know he didn't do this?" Okay, well, you don't know them. You're a complete stranger. For you to say the family doesn't know when they tell you that something's off, who are you to tell, especially a mother's intuition. And I don't care if they are 50 or they are 5.
Right.
Mamas know,
Yeah,
and
mom.
they can feel it, and I can't explain it. My mom, not my mom, my meemaw was like that. And I was like, well, how do you know? And then when I became a mom, I was like, oh, I get it now. You just do. But it's just, you just know, and it's like you feel just panic for that split second when you turn your head and you don't know where they're at, and then you turn the other way and they're right there, and it's just instantaneous relief. But I can't imagine being that mom that when they're not there and it not going away. Like that was my worst fucking nightmare. Like I couldn't imagine. I feel so, just my biggest sympathies to Ashley and Candace and Justin and Riley's parents. And I mean, I could not imagine just that feeling of never going away.
Right. It's a good point.
And it's even if it's a bad result, and it's and it's not, you bring them home and they're not alive, that's still the not knowing. It's it's like you can start to heal, but it's that panic of not knowing is like, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. The just the pain that I've heard in the conversations I've had privately with some of these parents, it just absolutely breaks my heart and lights a fire under my ass, that like, if I can help it, like I'm gonna try to make that less, or make sure that no other families have to go through that. Why I just sit idle.
Right. Well, essentially, you are right now. You know what I mean? You're doing something. You're doing You're doing more than, I guess, maybe what some of the police are.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
And so are the
Mm-mm-mm.
people in the chat. You know what I mean? By showing up and watching this, you're gonna be, even if you're not familiar, or if you are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hopefully, you
All
get a little
getting on board and getting interested and doing your own research and coming back and putting it in like, I can't stress enough how much I appreciate all of you guys just being here and bouncing your thoughts. Like, I I cannot stress it enough. Like, it's a group effort, and we would not make this work if it wasn't all of us here doing it the way that we do. And it does make a difference, big or small. Like, I feel good about myself when I go to sleep at night, and I can't say that this time last year. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm doing all right. Like, and I'm not on YouTube triggered yelling at people, like, and being, like, I could be doing that because I was, so and but I'm still managing to piss people off. So hair flip. But it doesn't bother me anymore. I laugh and I'm like, I gotta get back to these cases. I'm just like, it just like, eye roll, whatevs, like, ugh.
Yeah.
Just drink some milk. It'll be all right.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Warm that stuff up. Go sleep.
Yeah, like, golly, goodness gracious.
Get
I
a
don't even
baby nipple and suck on that shit.
like, or why don't you get on a case? It would help you, like, get your mind off of some shit, because you seem so angry.
He more likely put a case.
Oh yeah, no, we're all going in.
The dumb shit that fool pulls.
Yeah, we're all going in.
Yeah,
going to jail. I can't wait.
But yeah, so let's cricket day. Here's a Facebook group.
Okay, I'll pin that and we'll check it out.
Yeah, we'll check that out. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Yes, and please feel free. Like, that's part of the reason why everybody has wrenches, so you don't have to ask permission. Everybody can share links, share your own links, whatever communities. Just please don't be shy. Don't think you need my permission. I encourage it. I appreciate it. And this is where we are oh god, that was gonna be cheesy. We just a big old think tank, and and it takes a village to
Well, I was just gonna say something like that. You know what I mean? Like, essentially, the village has been broken up, and it's now, what, we're bringing the village back together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody
building the teepees back up.
Yeah.
Reinforcement.
Right on.
Yeah, you can burn our teepees down, but guess what? We just get more sticks. And that wasn't a dig at nobody or no, God forbid. Kenny, don't get in your feelings. I swear that was not against you. I just think of teepee when I think of village. I swear.
Nah, I got
Lord.
TP in the backyard.
Heck yeah, I do
And
too.
playground pool.
I mean, it's my son's, but I fit in it. We make shadow puppets.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Everybody enjoy the ride.
It's gonna be
You can
crazy.
call me crazy. I know
God.
what happened to me is going to make me passionate and like really double down on what I'm saying. And there's something evil going on in this city.
Take me down to the river, won't run, try the river comes to life, and I come.
Try it in Lady Bird Lake. Swimming is not allowed, as many of you know. After all, that ban has been in place for 50 years. But do you know why?
In the heart of Austin, Texas, lies a tranquil oasis in the form of a picturesque lake that has long been cherished by locals and visitors alike.
Create content for people and search engines with SEMrush SEO Writing Assistant. Get your copy SEO.
But beneath the surface of its serene waters lies a mystery that has haunted the community for over a decade.
Fuck my life. I'm not on the YouTube. I got the premium on.
What?
I got premium when, but I'm on my other account. I'm so sorry. Next time. God bless it. I couldn't see something because somebody had me blocked, so I had to switch. So sorry, y'all. Oh, maybe tomorrow.
Rather than being celebrated as a family-friendly water spot, the lake has come to be feared for much more sinister reasons. Since the early 2000s, more than 18 victims have been pulled from Lady Bird Lake after going missing in suspicious circumstances, and many of its other victims have yet to be identified. The strange deaths began in 2008 when the first life was tragically claimed by the depths of Lady Bird Lake in Austin, Texas, when the body of a respected member in the community was spotted floating near the shore. When the lifeless man was pulled from the water, officers found that his hands and feet were bound. There was also talk among locals that the man's head was wrapped in duct tape. Yet, even with these details, the victim's death was still ruled as self-induced. Residents of the area were left grappling with a mix of grief, confusion, and an unshakable sense of unease. The authorities reassured the locals that there was nothing to worry about and that this was simply a tragic accident. But when more men started to die in different but no less inexplicable...
Okay, first of all, 2008, that's a long time. Second of all, how the hell did he tie his arms and his feet and duct tape his head? And you gonna tell me that he did that to himself?
Right.
Come on. 2008?
Mm-hmm.
What? And
I believe
make
it
that
goes
make
back
sense.
further. This is, I think in a little bit, he even says it goes back further.
What? Oh my
Mhm.
God. My gosh. Trigger warning.
But it's just picked up. It's picked up. How would you say? Momentum. There's more and more people.
Yeah, because of the freaking 5 in a freaking month or 20 days or whatever, or 20. Oh my God. Holy crap. I cannot believe they just said that he unalived himself in that and they found him in that condition.
No,
I am mortified. Like, what?
Like, what is he, like Houdini and shit? I mean,
Like,
come on.
that should be the headline in itself. And how did you come to that conclusion? What was the cause of death?
Right.
What the hell? Respected member of society, and this is all you could do? This is the closure you gave his family? Unacceptable, my peoples. Do better.
Shout out to, Mr. Black. The voice here is Mr. Black.
Absolutely.
If
y'all want to go check him out, I'll link it below.
Yeah.
Just The Disturbing Truth YouTube.
Yeah, really good. And then he does Cringe America, something like that.
Yeah, I'll drop his link if y'all want to go check him out. Well, this is on Law and Crime Network, but so I'll have to get his link. I'll do it. Yeah, because doing it on Law and Crime, is considered a news network. So I had to weasel around it.
Right, he has something with them so that he gives them this so that they can spread it out.
Yeah, but as long as I was gonna say as long as it's a news nation though, I won't get copyright.
Right.
So I was like, skirt.
Yeah, this dude is like one of my favorites. So like I subscribe to him, but he doesn't do a lot. But when he does, it's like damn,
he's deep in extent. Like he goes deep. Absolutely. Yeah, that's why he doesn't do a lot because I get that. Like you get invested in this shit, and when there's no resolve, like you feel like you haven't done your part. Like you can't just move on.
Right, and he's from I believe Arkansas, but he lives in the UK, and I believe he's with child now, and he's married. And after a while, it does weigh on you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're trying to get the information out there to people for people to know and stuff like that, but all you're looking at is the doom and gloom. Sometimes you need to separate that from real life, So, but this dude is awesome. And so are you, Kelly.
I definitely know what that's like. It hit me hard as hell whenever I got when I heard about Riley, and just when I heard his mom talk about, mamas go hug your babies, like it fucking just brought me to my knees, and I was in my feelings all day, like snappy with my husband, just like, don't fucking look at me, just leave me alone. Like it just, it's just like and it's not like I didn't expect that. It's just, it's still like, almost feels like, like lost a little brother, like, just hoping for, hey, he was going to be somewhere drunk and hey, I got a story to tell you. Like, and that's how I immediately think of it. Like, oh my God, what if that was my brother or and it just makes me sad. Like,
well, I think maybe you probably also had that expectation that maybe the police would do more.
Right. And then when they came up and then had the opportunity to come in there at the end and like bring it on home and and make it all better, we suspect no foul play. Oh, you motherfucker.
But, again, well, let's wait until the parents, do their thing.
I think a lot of it is because I'm spoiled with my sheriff, so I'm not going to accept anything else. I think that's my problem.
Yeah, you guys got an awesome sheriff. I'd like to kidnap him and bring him over here, but,
No, you better just come here like the rest of America. I sent you that link this morning. We're the biggest. Everybody's coming here, so it can't be too crappy.
Right.
If everybody wants to come here.
Yeah, shout out to Sheriff Grady, and I'm not even in Florida, so.
Yeah, I love me some Grady, and I love me some DeSantis. I tell you what. And it takes a team. They work together, and they get shit done, and they get legislation, and they work together, and that's how you keep a community safe. And you work as, you don't fight each other and have the government fighting the shit. It is absolutely despicable, the shit that is happening in our country right now.
But Grady don't, like, if he has some pushback, he's like, oh, well, fuck you, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, he's going to push back harder. Exactly. And he's going to go around your ass.
But what I noticed about
because he's got backing.
It's a consistent thing. It's not like once a year he comes up with something.
He's on there like I follow him because he's local. He's literally the first thing in the morning. He's blasting somebody every morning with his coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Mugshot of the Day. I'm not kidding. I'm not, and listen, and it cracks me up, and sometimes I'll know him, and it's even more funny, but it's like, damn, sucks to be you. He don't play. Like, he's ruthless, and he's got, like, he's just very witty and quirky like me. Like, that would be me. I would be up there, I sure, talking some shit. Like, that would be me.
Right?
Like, listen, look at this dumb, he's like, you can't make this shit up. How stupid could you be? Well, guess what? We served whatever it'd just be. I'm like, dude, where did that even come from? And the person watching is like, oh, that motherfucker. I would be if it was me, but I mean, he don't have no mercy. It's not like he picks and chooses. Like, he's not playing, not in my county, and it's known. Like, people that come around, they're like, they're they clinch up from, until they get to the next county because they don't want to get fucked up in Polk County because they ain't gonna just get bailed out. Like, you're gonna have consequences.
Word.
I would go the long way. Go around, especially if you're doing some weird shit with like kids, because he's coming for that ass.
Right.
Which is great. Like, what more could you be passionate about? Like, and he's always been that way. He's been the sheriff as long as I've been alive. He's always been that way.
That's awesome.
And I've met him several times. He's always like, he's not just on the TV. He's coming to the schools and he's involved. Like, when we know him and he knows us,
Back in the days, it's how police used to be, sheriffs used to be, but it's not like that no more.
Right. Yeah. Well, I sometimes have to remind myself that it's like the Wild Wild West when I start looking into these. Like, Ashley and Alex's case was the first time for me. I'm like, what is this, a third world country, or what are you talking? Is this the Wild Wild West? This is policing?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Right.
It's gross.
Where are we at right in here? This is the first guy, right? That he's talking about.
Fumbler is here, and he knows what it's like to live in a great county. So I just had to say that. Hair flip, cousin, pound it.
Oh yeah. Polk County.
You. Besides the fact that we live here, that's just like so like a bonus, but
Right.
And the bull peanuts.
Circumstances, officials regurgitated the same explanation to keep the community's mind at ease. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a sinister pattern that would grip Austin residents for years to come. As a matter of fact, it's gripping Austin tighter than ever before, right now. While the whispers of a lurking serial killer have finally come out of the shadows and into the light, the locals who are living on what might be a monster's hunting ground are left with little they can do except continue to beg authorities to investigate the cases further. But it seems like their calls for action are repeatedly dismissed as mere coincidence. The police insist that there's no concrete evidence linking the deaths together beyond their shared location, and they argue that what appears to be a web of darkness is, in reality, just a series of horrible but unrelated incidents, a collection of isolated tragedies that defy explanation. But in recent months, the number of fatalities on the lake has risen at an alarming rate, and it's become increasingly difficult to deny the similarities. The same community which was told there was nothing to fear is now left.
The future of anxiety and depression treatment is very exciting in psychiatry right now. I'd like to say,
wondering, is there more to these deaths than the authorities are letting on? Is there a serial killer on the loose in Austin, Texas? And could the presence of a chilling signature link the victims to a spate of killings which began in 1997? With the evidence pointing to at least the possibility of a connection between the victims, why do the local authorities refuse to acknowledge that the deaths might be related? We're going to talk about what we know and what I've found. I'm Mr. Black, and this is the disturbing truth. Lady Bird Lake is located in the heart of Austin, Texas, the state's capital city. It's a man-made body of water which was formed when a dam was built, and its original purpose was to serve as a reservoir to cool down the local power plant, which is no longer in operation. Lady Bird Lake stretches along the Colorado River with its northern boundary near downtown Austin, and it's easily accessible to residents and visitors alike. Lady Bird Lake was once called Town Lake until the city council renamed it in 2007 in honor of our former First Lady, Claudia Johnson, who was known by her nickname, Lady Bird. Claudia was devoted to beautifying the city of Austin, and she put a lot of time into improving the area around Town Lake, which was in desperate need of attention. While the lake holds a commanding position in the center of the city, before Claudia got involved, its shoreline was described as an eyesore. Years of untamed weeds, overgrown bushes, and rubbish littered the region until Miss Johnson pushed for city funding to transform the area surrounding the lake. She supported a major cleanup as well as the establishment of hiking and biking trails to connect the various water access points. Nowadays, There's a popular 10-mile trail loop which circles the whole lake, as well as various inlets and reserves dotted along the shoreline which provide a sanctuary for protected wildlife. Exploring the shoreline also offers breathtaking city views which are perfectly framed by the broad sky above the ripples of the lake's surface below. With its beautiful waters and scenic surroundings, Lady Bird Lake offers a peaceful reprieve from the bustling city surrounding it. But while the calm waters hold endless appeal to residents, there's been no swimming allowed in Lady Bird Lake since 1964. And if you listen to the rumors, you might believe that the ban is due to poor water quality caused by runoff from city streets, or that building the dam left dangerous materials littered along the lake bed. But the reality of the swimming ban is much darker. Despite its quaint name and serene appeal, Lady Bird Lake has a much more sinister reputation. Right back in those early days when the lake was first formed, 2 young children drowned while swimming with their family on Mother's Day.
Ali Rendon says he was just 8 years old when he witnessed his 8 and 11-year-old sister drown in Lady Bird Lake. Now, decades later, he says it's still a day that's hard for him to talk about.
Then a few weeks later, someone else drowned at Lady Bird Lake. Then a few months after that, when it happened for a third time, the city council was pressured into declaring an all-out ban on swimming. They later extended the ban to include the use of motorized leisure equipment on the lake and even went as far as to restrict fishing at Lady Bird. It was almost a no-fun zone. Without the option of wading through the water for fun, the lake became popular with water sport enthusiasts who take to the water for stand-up paddleboarding and other non-motorized
I found a great way to get great deals on great stuff from small brands. I picked up this backflow
leisure activities. The parks and trails around the lake are also well utilized for community events, festivals, and concerts, or even simply for families who just want to spend some time together at the water's edge. But no matter how many years have passed, like a shadow under the surface of the water.
Now, you hear how he says, you know what I mean? So the surrounding areas is being used for like parties. And so even with all this, knowing that, you know, the community is using around the lake, you know, for concerts and get-togethers and stuff, still police presence and stuff like that is absence.
If it's been declared unswimmable, why is it still there?
Excuse me, sorry about that.
Like, what makes it so dangerous? Is it got a crazy, wicked current like the Cumberland River? I mean, what
it does have a bad current, but as far as the drownings, it's to my understanding, you know what I mean, it's suspected that it's something else. It's not something
even with the kids when it first came about,
right? Because my understanding, the way it goes is like the kid just all of a sudden drowned. It's like he didn't know how to swim. I mean, he knew how to swim. You know what I mean?
You said it's like some bad juju or something.
That's what they were saying. That's why.
Well, that's a thought. Huh.
So even when they made the implements that, okay, you know, you can't swim, but you can go boating, still shit was happening when the boating and stuff like that, you know?
How do you go boating without swimming? How is that even possible?
People like to go fast, you know, use like jet skis and shit like that.
Yeah, but I'm saying like it's inevitable that you could fall off.
Good, yeah. But that's why you wear your life preserver. I want software.
If it's that dangerous, couldn't you just close it off? And I mean, if you can't fish, why would you go on a jet ski? Okay, that's another question. Is there any is there any wildlife in this thing? Is there fish?
There's fish.
Like, okay, so clearly it's not something that's like environmental, like chemical or something, you know. So it's something that somebody or something, you know, nefarious.
You're not gonna get the swamp thing coming out of that, no.
Oh, I don't mean that. I mean like the phone, you know, like, you know.
Right. Mm-hmm. No,
like, because it said something about it being like a runoff or an electrical plant. Like, that just sounds like a toxic waste ground.
Right, that's what they were thinking, and then they did tests, and it wasn't that. That's why they had kept it open. But as soon as the death, you know, the drownings happened, and like you see, it went from like the 2 kids to grown-ass men. And
right, yeah, no doubt. Escalated quickly. Is
what the heck,
does it have, is it, what was
you
it
know, and then
before it was a lake? Like, do we know? Like, was it an Indian burial ground or something crazy like that?
I don't think so. I don't know
I'm
if
gonna write that
if
down.
he
I'm gonna
says
look
that
into
or
that.
not, but it was, I believe it was expanded. You know what I mean? And then there's, I believe, from the
Well, because I
Colorado
know,
River
remember
runs off
Randy was telling
into it.
us when we were looking
If
into Riley the other day that that wall right there is still there from the Civil War. So, you know, there's history with the, you know, right there. And I, not to be weird or superstitious, but I'm just, I like to look at every angle.
right now, this, like he was saying, you
Colorado
know,
River.
until
Okay.
this is why it's named Lady Bird Lake, because she made it. So something was already
More
there, but
gooder.
she made it. How would you say, more prettier? Yeah, more good. Like how you like to say, more good, right? So that's why she implemented, you know, all these like walking trails and stuff like this, and people, I think, just added on afterwards and stuff like that. So, but
That's
the Colorado
interesting
River runs into it,
because the Cumberland River goes through to like what,
and
Ohio, the Ohio
so,
River, kind of like canals, and it's not like a similar, like I think it goes through Tennessee and Kentucky.
right.
Interesting. Interesting. And dams. I'm not saying that
Very,
they have a
very.
factor. I'm just writing stuff down that I hear that's similar because that's just what I do.
Well, you know, dam things, you
Right.
know, because they run the barges and stuff, right? So that could be a thing, though. You know, maybe it has.
There's somebody that is
Like you
working in
said, you
one of
never know.
these lines of
You know,
these fields that is using it to their advantage, whether it be a bartender, a bar owner, or it could be somebody that's working the water. You know, there's somebody that is working to know the ins and outs of this, that's benefiting from knowing what they know. You know, having the schedule and knowing what they know.
yes, there's
And apparently has been doing it as long as I've been
right,
alive.
just like
What
in
the fuck?
Tennessee. 1990.
No, I was
You
born in
didn't think it was gonna be
'96.
that
Like shit,
far,
I was
did
just a
you?
little knee high baby.
Yeah, when he said 1990, I said, "What? Good Lord, it's taking them a
Holly
long
Street
time to
Power
get
Plant.
any
Thank you, Cricket Dave.
headlines on
I'll
this
definitely
thing."
be looking into that.
Yes, that was the power plant that they thought that runoff was going up in there and maybe polluting it, but they did test and
Huh.
it's not like that.
All right. Yeah, I was gonna say, just like there's no
Like
foul play, I'll do
it
my own
was the
research and form
people
my own
that they
opinion.
would
Thank you very
find.
much. Sorry. Sons of
There you
bitches.
go. All right.
The sense of darkness at Lady Bird Lake still remains, and despite the ban on swimming, deaths at the lake have continued right up until present day. Except that, in recent years, the victims aren't simply drowning, and their deaths appear as though they may be connected. So let's talk about the victims, all of whom seem to be male.
My dad just gathered all us together and said, hey, let's all hold hand and go into the water.
The true mystery began in April of 2008, when the body of a missing man was found floating in Lady Bird Lake. 55-year-old Rihad Hamad was born and raised in Lebanon before immigrating to the United States. He lived in Austin for 30 years prior to his death, where he used various degrees to teach business education. On the side, he taught keyboarding to middle school students. He was known as a generous man who was peaceful and patient. Riyadh was also deeply involved in Austin-based charity work, and even sold handmade goods to raise funds for Palestinian families. On top of his work and community engagements, Riyadh was outspoken on international politics, specifically in relation to U.S. policy in the Middle East. 2 months prior to his death, his home was raided by the FBI, and 40 boxes of paperwork were removed, but ultimately, no charges were ever...
Flag on the play. Flag on the play. Red flag. What? What? Excuse me, sir. What did you just say? That the FBI raided his house to no avail, and then he just died? And this is the same one that was bound, his hands and feet were bound and had duct tape on his head, and he unalived himself? What are you talking about?
This is a different guy.
No, is it? Oh
Yeah,
hell no!
it's a different guy, but I believe
This is a different guy in 2008.
similar situation.
Oh hell no! Oh hell no! The Fed's doing it. Let's go.
With this guy, you would think because of all he does in the community, and he's kind of made a name of himself, that the police would, especially after the FBI raided his thing. I don't know if they thought he was a spy or something.
No, he had political views that didn't fit their narrative. It sounds like.
Yeah, but
fuck.
But yeah, that's a different dude, I believe. The first guy was
what?
This dude, yeah.
3 chemical spills and noise complaints. It was decommissioned in 2007. Oh hell to the no.
Oh, at the electrical plant.
I don't like my ninja. But how can this one be connected to more recent ones? Well, when you have that type of organization, usually they just pass the baton. If you get what I'm saying, Junkenstein, right. like they got. I ain't gonna say because I don't want to be Alex Jones in this bitch.
Yeah, the connections are just obvious. You know what I mean?
I don't know who, but there's the what is kind of what I'm here to do. That's a little bit above my pay grade, and I don't want to get banned for being a conspiracy theorist.
What the fuck?
Yeah, because that's what they say. Heaven forbid. Anything that is against anybody of power is a conspiracy theory.
Right.
Because Alex Jones is not looking too crazy right now in the last couple of weeks. I'm just fucking saying. And I thought he was until that boxer started talking. I'm like, whoa, that sounds just like what that dude was saying. And I was like, man, you're crazy.
That kid's from where I stay.
The boxer?
Yeah.
Garcia?
Yeah.
They fucked with that kid. Like he's not backing down. Like, and I don't know that he's gonna be around much longer if he keeps it up,
We if you want, we could talk about him later, and I'll tell you some stuff. But
yeah, for sure, no doubt, because I ain't trying to be on that list.
Right.
For broad.
I don't even know who that is. Who? What? Are you talking about Mike Tyson? He's gonna beat the shit out of that fucking TikToker. I can't wait. It's gonna be on Netflix. What?
Against Riyadh on the 13th of April.
You ain't heard? Dude, Tyson's gonna fuck that kid up. I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah.
He's gonna find a way to weasel out of it. He's already tried twice.
April 2008, Mr. Hamad was reported missing by his wife after failing to return from a trip to the pharmacy. Then the following day, a passerby noticed something unusual floating in the water at Lady Bird Lake. As the current brought the item closer to the shore, the woman quickly realized that what she was looking at was a body. She called the authorities straight away. It was soon identified as father of 2, Riyadh Hamad. Officials declared that Riyadh appeared to have committed suicide. There was just one problem with that theory. It completely contradicted the circumstances in which his body was found. The woman who first spotted him in the lake recalled that Riyadh's hands and legs were bound and that there was duct tape over both his eyes and mouth. And others who watched the body being pulled from the water noticed the same thing, so no one could understand the strange announcement from officials. In fact, when information about the duct tape and bindings went public, the police were forced to make a follow-up statement where they stated that the bindings of his hands and legs and placement of the tape were all consistent with Hamad having done that to himself. They had apparently spoken to friends and family of Riyadh who claimed that he'd been experiencing thoughts of harming himself in the lead-up to his death. He was upset about the recent FBI raid, which had the potential to damage his reputation and affect his charity work. However, the person responsible for preparing Riyadh's body for his death rites claimed to have seen facial bruising and other injuries on the body, which he described as looking like he'd been attacked by an animal. These injuries would be inconsistent with a person taping themselves up and then somehow getting into the water.
Cricket Day. His name is Riyadh R-I-A-D Hamad, H-A-M-M-A-D. It's right there on the screen if you can't. If R-I-A-D H-A-M-M-A-D, and this happened in 2008.
The first guy just had the bindings, right? But he had the duct tape over his eyes and shit like that.
What the strange? That's an understatement, my guy.
water to drown. The FBI never brought charges against Riyadh, and none of the reasons for their raid have ever been publicly substantiated since his death. Mr. Hamad's passing was the first known suspicious death at Lady Bird Lake, but it's far from the last, and even further from being the most perplexing. On Saturday the 16th of October 2012, Austin police identified the body of a man found dead in a creek in Austin as 21-year-old Cole Christensen, a native of Anchorage, Alaska. Christensen, a former student at the University of Alaska Anchorage, was a popular and humorous guy with a bright soul who loved hockey. He was known for customizing jet skis, motorcycles, and anything else he could get his hands on. One friend said, Cole made a lot of people laugh, had a really big smile, and treated everyone with kindness. Christensen spent a lot of his time in the presence of his loved ones at a cabin on Big Lake, his favorite place. He enjoyed campfires, wakeboarding, jet skiing, and all things water-related. It's safe to say that Cole Christensen knew his way around water. Even in the winter when it was frozen, he enjoyed snow machining and skiing. Whether he was teaching himself to do backflips on a wakeboard or similar tricks on a jet ski, Cole never shied away from a challenge. The 21-year-old's body was found Saturday morning at 11:10 a.m. by an employee of Austin Music Hall. Cole Christensen had been lying in Shoal Creek behind the business. Austin police ruled his death as not suspicious, and no further investigation was initiated according to APD. The Travis County Medical Examiner's Office said that Cole's death was yet to be determined, as they awaited the results of toxicology testing on his body. But over 10 years later, to my knowledge, this information has never been released.
Oh, hell no. What the fuck?
Before.
What?
Yeah, right?
Oh, God bless his poor family. Oh, my goodness. Oh, no. Austin, you got to get your shits together. What are you doing? Oh, that just made me so mad. I seen red. What are you talking about? Toxicology. 6 months is pushing it. 10 years? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, my God.
Right.
Why I love Envato Elements? I love that I don't have to animate my own texting conversations.
In February of 2014, Ilano Valet was a 20-year-old student at St. Edward's. He was described as a kind soul who fought for the rights of others. His friends say he went out of his way to help people even if it meant staying up all night. Ilano was the type of guy who would drop whatever he was doing and rush to a friend in need.
Reptilian. I mean, I don't know who they are, but they're good. You don't gotta boot them. They're not bothering me. I got bigger fish to fry.
Ignore that person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not bothering me. They can get in, or I had to unblock them though the other day, so they're good. They're all right. Unless they start trolling, then deal with it. But they're okay for now.
Word.
He loved racquetball and artsy performances like watching orchestras. He was notably recalled for his infectious smile and for occasionally eating nothing but ice cream for dinner. Not many details have been released when it comes to Ilano Valet, but we do know that he was found in Lady Bird Lake, near Cesar Chavez, roughly 10 days after he disappeared. Originally from Maryland, Aaron David Rublick moved to Austin in 2011. In October of 2014, 25-year-old Aaron was working at a marketing firm in downtown Austin. Rublick was hanging out in the town with his friends one Thursday night before catching a cab to get home from Rainy Street. The driver dropped him off outside the Holiday Inn near I-35 at around 2 a.m. Friday morning. Roughly a day and a half later, two fishermen discovered his body in Lady Bird Lake. Police said they saw no signs of trauma on David's body, and they suspect another accidental drowning. 22-year-old Julio Santos III was an Austin native who went to college at North Texas State University. After graduation, he scored his dream job in Seattle and decided to spend a couple of weeks at home before heading away again. He was known for his big heart and friendly nature. And when Julio's body was pulled from the water on June 7th of 2015, his toxicology report found the presence of alcohol in his system, but no drugs. He was found fully clothed except his belt was missing. And just like the other victims before him, Julio Santos' death was ruled as an accidental drowning. On June 18th of 2016 at around 3 p.m., two people fishing in the water on the south side of the Colorado River near the 2900 block of Wickham Lane reported the discovery of a body lying in the water. While the Colorado River connects to Lady Bird Lake, it's worth noting that the location in question is a brave bit south of the actual lake itself. The Travis County Sheriff's Office said they had no reports of a missing person around that time, and the body wasn't in a spot that was easy to get to. It took some time, but eventually, responders recovered the body of a man. When authorities ran fingerprints, they realized it belonged to 35-year-old Fernando Domingo Ortiz. Fernando came from a big family. He always had time for a good conversation. He loved outdoors, fishing, and taking trips to anywhere with a coast. He was described as a gentle man with the heart of a child, a humble and quiet soul who was physically rather quite strong. I haven't been able to find anything else about Fernando's passing, but on his obituary page, some of those that knew him claimed he lost his wife some time ago, and whenever they would see him out and about, he would always mention how much he missed her. His cause of death, to my knowledge, has yet to be released. On Wednesday, August 15th of 2018 at around 7:25 p.m., EMS received reports of another body floating in Lady Bird Lake near 200 East Riverside Drive. After recovery, officials initially believed the man to be in his 40s. He was eventually ID'd as 37-year-old Louis Ramirez. Born in McAllen, Texas, Louis moved to Austin after high school and attended St. Edward's University, where he earned a double degree in psychology and political science. But even with his great education, Louis chose to follow his dreams. His passion was music. He made a living as a DJ his entire adult life, working multiple venues such as Kingdom Club and the now closed Lanai Rooftop Club. Louis is remembered as having the best interests in people. He was an extremely positive as well as a loving and caring individual. He'd give his last buck to help someone out and periodically looked after the homeless. While Louis enjoyed nature and hiking in places like Barton Springs Pool, some report that Louis Ramirez was scared of water and wouldn't dare go near it. As with previous victims of Lady Bird Lake, there are still a lot of details about this case that we just don't know. On October 6th of 2018, 25-year-old Christopher White was in Austin visiting friends and attending the Austin City Limits Music Festival when he went missing. Friends last saw him at around 6 a.m. after he'd had a few drinks and was intoxicated. Christopher told them that he wanted to go check out the water nearby the rental property in West Austin where they were staying. He left without his shoes, wallet, or phone. When he didn't return, he was reported missing. 2 days later, Christopher's body was spotted by passersby near a dock in the Colorado River, close to the rental property he was visiting. Later, his toxicology report revealed the presence of several other substances outside of alcohol. Just weeks later, 25-year-old Martin Gutierrez went missing in Austin. Martin wasn't a local. He was raised in Big Spring before moving to Austin in 2008 after graduating from Texas Tech. His big brother Mitchell recalled how Martin was a caring and loving guy who enjoyed working out and socializing. The night Martin went missing, he had dinner with his brother before meeting up with friends at a local bar. He was last seen wearing jeans and a blue Patagonia jacket, which was the same outfit he was found wearing when his body was recovered from Lady Bird Lake a week later, on November 19th of 2018. Martin's autopsy lists his cause of death as drowning, but his family believes there's more to the story. He had a contusion on the back of his head, and while his blood showed the presence of alcohol, it wouldn't have been enough to impair.
Creating videos can be time-consuming. I used to spend
Can you
hours
pause it?
creating
him to the point where he would.
Cricket Day says, so far the ethnicity of victims seem to be other than Hispanic or white. I don't know what you mean, but I was gonna say, you notice how, like, you know, most of them, I guess so far, you know what I mean, they're fit. They're not like these scrawny men or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I believe one comes up that he doesn't like to swim, so he wouldn't even go near a body of water. So that's what's strange about his family says about him. But like for the most part, I believe the rest of these people know how to swim and all that. But then the guy before this,
And
dude,
they weren't getting manhandled. You know, they look like they could hold their own.
correct, exactly. Like this kid right here, you know what I mean? His brother said he likes to lift weights, work out, and all that stuff. The guy before, he was a white man, but he left without his phone, his shoes, I believe, and his something else. I can't remember what else that they said, but he was just going down, just down the way,
No
and then
shoe, yeah, no phone, no shoes, no wallet, no nothing.
right, and it wasn't too far where he was going to check out whatever he had said he was going to
Yeah,
look
from
at.
my understanding, it was like they had a view of it, so it had to be like on the, like the pier right behind the where they were staying.
Exactly. So it's like, what the heck? Like, nobody saw nothing.
Did he lean too far? Like, what the hell?
Yeah. But what's different between this and the Tennessee thing is there are areas, yes, you can actually fall over into the water, like directly into the water. Whereas the Tennessee, you would have to.
And if that's what it is, then we can start there. We got to change that and make it where there's not. It's safe for people to. If you're gonna have it where it's accessible to people, you got to make it safe.
I think he might mention that to where they started putting but it's
fences,
still,
lights, something, cameras. I mean, what the heck?
That's what I thought. Like, and maybe he might mention that in this one. I'm not sure, but even then, it's like, yeah, why wouldn't you put up a couple cameras here and there? You know what I'm saying? This way, the police don't have to worry about, oh God, I gotta walk the beat. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, why wonder? Whenever everywhere's got cameras now, it just makes sense that if it's that big of a problem, why have that many families in limbo and not knowing? That just seems cruel to me.
Yeah, and so that might be a petition.
Yes, I'll get. I will absolutely look into that, because if that's not already, like, absolutely, because if either way, either it'll get to the bottom of how and where these people are being, where it's most vulnerable, or who's doing it. If it is something nefarious, either way, let's do it. Something.
Right.
Would enter the dangerous water fully clothed and then be unable to get back out. And there weren't any other drugs found in Martin's system, but there are a few moments of CCTV footage which captures Martin Gutierrez walking toward the lake. In the video, he can be seen dancing around goofily. According to Mitchell, this is not at all how Martin would behave even when he is intoxicated. Martin's family believed that he was drugged in a bar and then attacked when he was walking close to the water. His death tore a hole in his family, and they joined the growing call for action to protect people from the hazards of the lake. There's also the death of Randy Lexvold, who was found dead in Shoal Creek on the 6th of December 2018. Just like the Colorado River, Shoal Creek also feeds into Lady Bird Lake. Randy was visiting Austin to watch his daughter participate in the USA Junior National Swimming Championship when he went missing. A day after he was last seen, his body was found in what can only be described as highly suspicious circumstances. His lungs were filled with fluid, which led to conducted determined that he had. His cause of death is officially listed as drowning. His specific manner of death is bones, including his collarbone, right thumb, broken ribs, and a broken legs were bruises. The injuries on his body so bad police weren't able to age, race, gender. However, officials attributed these injuries to water. Could it up. He entered the was that they didn't believe he was robbed because his were found with his body. The autopsy.
Is that me breaking up, or is it the?
He noted that the examiner.
You said you're breaking up?
Hello.
Is the video breaking up for you?
Is that me breaking up?
No,
or
it wasn't
it
for me, but is
choppy
it
on
for
your
the
end, too?
okay? Is Junkenstein is?
Yeah.
So, hold on, let me refresh it.
You hear it? Oh shit! Yes, it's a video.
How Randy ended up in the creek, or where or why he entered the water. All they had to say was that they didn't believe he was robbed because his personal items were found ready. The autopsy noted that the examiner wasn't sure whether he simply.
That better way?
No, I think it's still a little bit.
Okay, hold on.
But go ahead.
Choppy?
Go ahead, try it.
Or
Choppy?
or gen or gender when he was first pulled from the water. However, officials attributed these injuries to a fall in the water, but they couldn't tell how Randy ended up in the creek or where or why he entered the water. All they had to say was that they didn't believe he was robbed because his personal items were found with his body. The autopsy noted that the examiner wasn't sure whether he simply fell, was pushed, was hit by a car and knocked over, or whether he jumped. Thus, the manner of death is undetermined. 21-year-old Christian Pugh was in Austin to see stand-up comedian Tom Segura in November of 2019. He was last seen near Clive and Rainey Street at around 1:30 a.m. before disappearing. He was reported missing at 10:30 p.m. the following day, and flyers with his face on them were put up everywhere. He had left his phone in his car. Pugh's car was found on Slaughter Lane, where Christian took an Uber to Rainey Street. The last charge on the young man's card was at Clive Bar on the corner of Davis and Rainey Street.
Did you pause it? It's breaking up again. Katie. Hello. Pardon us, we are having some technical difficulties at the moment. Please enjoy the music while we wait. I'm just kidding. Chunksteen, I'm scared. Yeah, the one before that where they're like, they didn't know if he was hit, pushed, thrown, beat, whatever into the lake. So they don't even know the cause of his death. Like, that's just some strange stuff, right? You would think they would investigate that maybe. But that's why you guys are here. So you guys can do that if you live close to that place. Yeah, Puff Muffin. I mean, it's crazy, this stuff, you know. I don't even know, you know. To me, if I was at this point, I mean, like, I believe at this point in time, like, people know that some nefarious stuff is going on. I would request an autopsy done by an outside, you know, entity or something. But like, they're not saying that they're you know, wallets are still on them. There's no robberies, you know. They're not thinking it's, you know, robbery or anything like that. There was mention of the smiley face killer thing, but that's short lived, and I don't think it has any validity to do with this. It just so happens that a lot of people, like when that was going on, a lot of people, because even out here where I stay, I see that stuff everywhere, and I'm just like, whatever, it don't mean nothing. Ready?
Yeah, I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Yep.
Had to restart.
Good job.
I think someone. I
Negative Ghost Rider.
called site
NASA.
bar.
We are having issues.
River Street is
night, Thursday night, around 10 p.m.
Okay, he's still skipping.
Okay, hold on. This.
It's still skipping. Rockin's like, I thought I was playing a record or something. The jumping, that sucks. Yeah, Junkenstein, that's very true. The cops are saying one thing, and then like the autopsy will say another, and then you'll find that somebody will say something else. But and what's funny too is there's witnesses to these things sometimes. You know what I mean? Like the one guy that was spoken about the tape. Those people witnessed that shit. So it's like, how is that? How is there no criminal element to that? Someone pulling the bandwidth? I hope not. Can they do that? Get a rope. Yeah, Roddy. That's what you know what I mean. Like maybe outside the county or something. I remember there's a case where all these deaths kept coming in, and the coroner just was kept writing them off as suicide, and it's like, yeah, this person couldn't possibly shoot himself in the back of his head with like a bazooka or something ridiculous like that, right? And it's like, yeah, forget the coroner. I can't remember if that coroner got in trouble or not, but because things were just not coming up legit. That's what I was thinking too, Fumbler. Oh, they can steal the bandwidth. Oh, snaps. Well, she probably has 20 tabs open. For real. Oh, snaps. Did you go close all the tabs, Kaylee? Oh, my goodness. Starlink. How many of the people in the chat, how many people have heard of this Lady Bird Lake in Austin, Texas situation? Oh, wow. That many of you? Cool. Reptilian dude, like, I'm just gonna be upfront with you. I'm not gonna believe a word that you say. So Junkenstein has Puff Buffin first time word. Roddy, you heard of it? Okay. Kimo, hey, so how you doing? Kill, what is it? I watched Kill Tony. It's filmed in Austin. Was it a good movie? Correct. Yeah, the beginning of the video covered that. Thank you. It's a comedy podcast. Word. Can you all hear like the other voices? Or is it just me? Oh, so he pulls the name out of the bucket and they come up and they do a bit for a minute. That's pretty tight, I guess. It gives everybody like a chance and stuff, you know what I mean? And you got to be Johnny on the spot with it. See what I mean? Just Stiffy, it's me. Jewish Defense League is a terrorist group since the 70s. Thank you for that information. Maybe somebody stole like all the bandwidth, right? So he's mentioned the bodies of the situation or something at this comedy place. I'm gonna assume that you're in the Texas area. Oh, you're talking about homeboy from way in the beginning. I'm sorry, Cricket Day. I was just like, okay. I don't know where that's going. Yeah. So, okay, I get what you're saying. Oh, they did an autopsy without. Isn't that against his religion? Yeah, I would accuse that would be the white lady. She's got people here. She's throwing a party, running amok and stuff. So I got my shanks and my Nerf guns out. Tricks burn deep side, right? What's up, Confluence? Right, Fast Eddie. Like I hear him talking outside. I don't know if they're plotting against me or not. Like I said, I'm armed with my Nerf guns. Reptilian, I'm not sure. I cannot see her right now at this moment. She bailed. She just left me up here. Right? Why should we? I think she does it on purpose. She's like, I wonder how long he'll stay up there before he finally drops off. Well, everybody, I don't know. I tried texting, nothing back. Um, there she be. Kaylee? Is that you?
No.
Did that fucking reptilian guy get to you?
Yeah.
Some bitch.
He's hacked me. No, I'm just kidding.
Huh.
Just kidding.
Just turn on like the swamp cooler. They don't like
p.m. at a place called Better Days, right in the heart of the Red River Cultural District here in Austin, Texas. just to give you an idea of
Is it
the
breaking up?
proximity of this location to
No,
Rainy
it's-
Street. You can take Red River all the way down from where I was. Red River turns into Rainy Street. You basically make a left once you go straight. Rainy Street is where all these people have been found in the lake. And we've had about 5 or 6 people, I believe, and just in 2023 that have ended up in this lake, and it just doesn't make any sense. So keep that in mind, that it's only a mile, not even a whole mile and a half from that lake to the very bar area that I was drugged in. So I started my evening over at that bar, and it was any other night, dude. I mean, I've been down to the cultural district so many times, never thought twice about being served any drinks. I mean, I can party, man. I can definitely have some drinks. I started my night with some whiskey and cokes, and I had a couple, just 2, and everything was cool. Nothing different. We went ahead and hopped on down the road. Off of 7th and Red River, there's a really popular bar called Las Perlas. Probably my favorite bar in the city up until this happened, right? And I end up going to Las Perlas, having my margarita. It came out of a draft, not even mixed. So everything's cool. After that, we go over to Sidebar, and I have another whiskey and coke, and I don't remember a thing after that, hardly at all. But I do have little things I remember here and there, and the main thing I remember was I had that drink around 1:35 a.m. maybe, and we left the bar. I literally, walking not even a 5-minute walk, collapse. I'm talking like this, I'm like, how? And my tongue feels like it weighs 20 pounds. My eyes, I can't open them. I can't tell if I'm standing, sitting, floating. I don't know where I am. My friend, tall guy, saved my life that night. One thing that I remember about it that blew me away was the fact that I couldn't do anything. I literally I've never been so incapacitated in my life so fast. I mean, it was like a bomb and it went off. It was like, all of a sudden, all I could remember him saying was like, hey man, we need to call my girlfriend. And all I could remember, the last thing I said was like, get home. Like, what the? Like, I was so confused. Had no clue what was going on. So my friend calls my girlfriend and is like, hey, your boyfriend's f***ed up. You need to come and grab him. He's had way too much, I think. He gives me a sip of water. I throw up violently. My toes are almost leaving the ground as he's holding me. I go into my girlfriend's car with his assistance. I continue to throw up. I get taken home by my girlfriend. I can barely, I don't even remember anything except falling and hitting the back of my head and my girlfriend screaming, get up, get up. 2:33 in the morning, probably thinking I'm pissed drunk, not realizing what's up. God bless his soul. She knows I can party, but I know she's never seen me like this. I know for a fact she's never seen me like this. I've never been anywhere close to this messed up. So she puts me in the bathroom, and I hit my head again in the tub. And at this point, I stay in a bathtub all night, and I don't even remember it. I don't remember any of this. And another thing I think I should mention too, that I failed to mention earlier, one of the things that tripped me out more than anything was I sweated so much. I was so sweaty that, my shirt must have weighed 2 pounds the next day. I could literally wring it out like a wet rag or a mop in a bucket. My hat that I just bought a week and a half before, tan, looked like I'd worked in it all summer long. I could not believe how much I had sweat the next day. And when I looked at my vomit on my shirt, it almost looked like some kind of weird gel. This was not normal. I knew it wasn't normal. The next day, I awoke at 10 a.m. First thought, what happened? Oh my God, I got a meeting in an hour. I go and take care of things, and immediately afterwards, I start checking my text. My girlfriend sends me a recollection of everything that happened that night. I remember none of it. My friend, he saved my life, and I'm so grateful for that. He texts me, he's like, hey dude, just want to make sure you made it home all right. Call me. I call him. He's like, hey man, I just think you got too f***ed up last night. And I go, dude, we've partied all night in Vegas till like 4 or 5 in the morning. Walked around cognitively. Walked home. Not a problem. Bro, I had 4 drinks last night. I couldn't stand up. I didn't know which way was up. I didn't know what was going on. It's like, this is the most f***ed up thing that's ever happened to me. It's like in my eyes, my head, I just feel like my central nervous system is just on fire. I just feel like I avoided like the most crazy thing that's ever happened to me. Well, later on that evening, I decided to make a post on Reddit about my experience, and many other people came forward with the same exact story. And because I hadn't went to the hospital, I just thought I'd walk it off. Saturday comes around, I still feel like shit. Anytime I feel slightly hot and that sweat starts coming, I go into flashbacks. Like, I'm immediately just freaked out. My heart starts pounding. I'm thinking it's going to happen again. The whole weekend I was afraid to even eat or even grab food from anywhere. I have no appetite. It was one of the craziest things.
Now, I believe
and then Monday came around,
this
I
Reddit
went to
page
work,
that he's
and
talking
I still
about
didn't feel
are people
myself.
that
I seriously felt like I'd lost a big part of me.
Right, Kaylee?
Say that again?
The Reddit thing that he's talking about, where these are the people that didn't go, I believe, right?
Didn't report it to the police or didn't
Right.
get any help from the police.
Right. So, I mean, so we got, people that had went to the police or whatever, and we see these people, their names mentioned or their pictures, whatever. This guy didn't want his face to be shown because he believed that he was drugged and maybe, he doesn't want to get drugged again or something like that.
Right, and he didn't want to be made fun of, by the boys either.
Correct. So he goes on this Reddit thing, and when you go on that Reddit thing, I mean, there's a grip of people. I mean, I shouldn't be smiling or smirking, but I mean, there's just so many people that are putting in like the same situation. You know what I mean? And
Like copy and paste, identical.
Yeah, and it does have some linkages to certain bars as well, just like in the
Nashville.
young kids case. Yes,
Rainy Street.
Right. Is the one in Houston, right?
Yeah, and the one in Nashville was Broadway.
Right. Correct. Right.
Crazy.
Did we skip the Christopher Pugh part? I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
To myself mentally. I was still there, but I felt so weak and just kind of timid. It's just kind of a weird feeling. Tuesday comes around and I decide to go to my primary care provider, and I break down and I tell them, I'm like, somebody I think tried to kill me. I'm positive I was drugged. I know myself. Like I said, I've partied a lot in my day. I'm no rookie. I know my limits, and I never let it get that bad. I go in and get an EKG. They take my urine. They take my blood. They hear my story, and my doctor's jaw drops, and she goes, well, I just talked to somebody with our office, and there's been 4 other people that have came from the same exact bar that have had the same exact story just this week. And another thing that's crazy, I was overheating so bad, I literally don't know how I made it out alive. I've traveled the world, and then not even a mile and a half from my house, man, I get drugged. I have a killer memory. I've never blacked out in my life. And I'm very glad that I have a wonderful friend that watched out for me that night. A fucking angel, dude. He saved me. You can call me crazy. I know that what happened to me is going to make me passionate and like really double down on what I'm saying. But having experienced that drug, I mean, I've never taken any hard drugs in my life. Keep that in mind. But I smoked a lot of weed in my life, dude. And I drink and stuff like that. And this shit was so fucking strong. And it was my 4th drink. It just doesn't seem right. And the next day, I was not even hungover comparatively to some of the nights where I would have walked home. And I felt much worse on those days. So something didn't add up. And, that's really where I'm at with this. I'm a 38-year-old bald-bearded dude who wears Patagonia shorts and freaking rock and roll t-shirts. I never seen this coming. There's something evil going on in this city.
According to many Reddit and Facebook users that frequent the bars in this area, people getting drugged around this location is very common. Almost everyone from Austin that I've spoken to has a story about themselves or a friend that has gone through this horrible experience. And one of the bars that locals keep mentioning is the Sidebar. Sidebar is owned by the same person who owns Better Days. These are the 2 bars he was in the night he was drugged. Unfortunately, Better Days has no cameras, and Even though I myself reached out to the sidebar to view the CCTV from the night I was drugged, the owner told me he was only able to capture video of the night from about 1 a.m. on. The rest had been overwritten, which is odd, considering claims to have contacted him just a few days after the incident. If it were me, the very first thing I'd do would be save the footage from the night in question. But he didn't. Maybe his cameras overwrite every day. I don't know. But if multiple people have reported being drugged in your venue, then you should make sure your security is at its peak for the safety of your customers. At bare minimum, you should have working cameras and make a big PSA via your social media pages to warn people about the potential dangers of this kind of crime. If this has happened multiple times in your venue, then you need to do something more to protect your clients by way of awareness. That will boost your reputation, not cause harm to it. Seems like some of the bars in Austin need to do more.
Absolutely, 100%.
It's important to remember that while everyone is watching their drinks, most people feel no threat from a joint or a vape pen. We as people also need to be more cautious and careful when it comes to all kind of consumption, especially when we're around strangers. And again, I'm not just talking about alcohol. Barnstable Police in Boston warned that altered vape cartridges can contain GHB or other drugs that are used to assault and rob people. They released a statement warning people not to use vape pens from strangers. The press release went out in June of 2022 stating, "The Barnstable Police Department has recently received another report of patrons at a local bar feeling the effects of possible date rape drugs. Although there have been no assaults reported at this time, members of the Barnstable Police Department have been actively investigating these incidents. As a result of the ongoing investigation, information is developed that the method of ingestion of these drugs may not just be drinks. It is possible that the substance is being delivered via altered vape cartridges. Based on this new information, the department is urging individuals that are gathering in social settings to not only keep a close watch on their beverages, but to also avoid sharing or using vape cartridges from unknown people. Be vigilant, aware, and consume whatever you consume only with those you trust. Ensure solid communication between yourself and your group. Let them know to look for you at all costs if you should suddenly disappear during a night out. And if they can't find you, have them contact the police immediately. This is not paranoia, and it's not a game. It's also worth checking out a device that can test for GHB and roofie medication. It's called the SIP chip. I saw it on Amazon. It's small, and it can tell you if you've been drugged or not, and apparently, it does so pretty quickly. The SIP chip company claims 1 drop of liquid is all you need, and they say it's 99.3% accurate. I'll drop a link in the description down below. There's also apparently something similar that's great for ladies called Undercover Colors. It's a fingernail polish that helps you test for whether or not you've been spiked. I'll link it down below as well. But remember, I have not tested either one of these products. So do your own research as to what chemicals they can detect and how efficient they are. But surely if GHB or GHB-causing substances had been used on the victims of Lady Bird Lake, the medical examiner would have tested for it, right? Well, according to online reports, GHB can be out of your body in as little as 12 hours. But a report on Science Direct called Drug-Facilitated Crimes, Do Not Forget to Test for GHB in Hair, addresses the problem specifically stating, hair analysis remains the only solution to investigate these cases. The report cited 2 different offenders who used the same exact MO at different times. These offenders posed as taxi drivers and offered their victims a laced bottle of water upon entering the vehicle. Shortly after consumption, the victims became confused and barely conscious before losing motor skills. They woke up at home the next morning, suffering from amnesia. Their money and belongings had been stolen. Hair samples of the victims were collected 3 to 4.5 months after the offense. The results were sufficient enough to aid a judge to charge 4 different fake taxi drivers with theft by trickery and administration of poison. Investigation into household products presumed to contain GHB or its cousin GBL is ongoing. But when it comes to drugging a victim, there's also the possibility that GHB isn't the chemical being used, but a compound called 1,4-butanediol, also known as BDO, has a slower onset than GHB. And from what I understand, once this BDO is ingested, it becomes GHB in the body. This would give criminals time and likely add to the confusion of when and where things happen the next day after a victim has been dosed and robbed. And while GHB would have a rather salty taste, word is BDO comes across as just a strong alcohol. Many report that BDO, or 1,4-butanediol, is like the crack version of GHB. Of course, this is all just my interpretation of several articles, so remember to research this for yourself. I've also read posts from users of BDO who claimed that when they're taking the substance for recreational purposes, they found it extremely hard to get the dose consistent and right. A certain measured amount of the chemical might equal a good time one night, but then a week later the same amount of BDO might have you on life support or worse. But where the hell do chemicals like BDO even come from? Well, as it turns out, BDO was being heavily manufactured and sold illegally in Nederland, Texas, under the guise of two companies owned by the same person. In 2020, a company called Right Price Chemicals and another called Jake's Fireworks had been operating as a front for selling BDO to people. Right Price Chemicals distributed BDO in 48 states across the country, sales of which generated $4.5 million. Investigators claim at least 2 deaths were associated with the product these businesses were selling. And while those who peddled BDO for the company claim it has use in industrial cleaner solutions, the DEA says it has no household applications. Jake's Fireworks and Right Price Chemicals were eventually caught due to a package intercepted in Florida. The owner of the two companies, Jake Ellis Doherty, was convicted and sentenced to 15 years in prison. Many of those who helped Jake in his BDO dealings evaded jail time and are walking free right now, including some of his own family members.
I picture him, in the river. I picture somebody hurting him and he's just left. I think he was drugged. I think he was overserved. I think he was lured over there. I think they're connected. They're too much the same to be a coincidence. It's like, APD's reading from a script.
While there's no proof, I do believe that more than some of the deaths around Lady Bird Lake involve victims who may have been drugged with something like BDO in an attempt to rob them. Even some of the victims who still had their wallets or small amounts of cash on them might fit this criteria if you take a second to consider what might be happening. If men are being drugged by people who want to rob them, I would imagine the assailants aren't trying to kill, but rather incapacitate their victims for long enough to drain them of their assets, oftentimes via their phones by way of fingerprints or some other form of trickery which can be orchestrated to gain access to mobile devices. Biometrics are a convenience with a curse. I find a 4-digit PIN much safer. But what happens in those cases if a victim accidentally ODs and loses their pulse during the robbery? I would imagine the robbers have to get rid of the body, and where better to do that than a body of water? I mean, what would you do mid-robbery if a victim dies? Would you take the couple $100, phone and wallet from the dead victim? Well, you'd be stupid if you did, because when the body turns up, missing valuables would be an obvious indication of foul play which would spark a local investigation. That's something you wouldn't want if you plan to keep robbing in that area. But if a body's found in the water with no signs of struggle, alcohol in its system, and it isn't missing valuables, it's much more likely to be labeled an accidental death or a self-inflicted one. I firmly believe that that's what's happening in Austin around Lady Bird Lake. I personally feel that someone is drugging unsuspecting men in Austin and robbing them possibly while posing as a taxi driver or something. Then when the drugging turns deadly, the body is discarded in the lake where evidence is washed away by both water and time. Many of the victims pulled out of Lady Bird Lake likely weren't tested for GHB effectively, if at all. And that doesn't sit well with me. But wait, a lot of people who have survived being drugged in Austin claim they began exhibiting the effects of that while still inside the bars. So how does that connect to the taxi theory? Well, I think it could be a crew of robbers. In this crew, there may be multiple of what I call fishermen. These fishermen may be placed in the bars where they blend in with other customers for the purpose of dosing them. After, let's say, a line is cast, the fisherman could then make the rest of the crew aware of a description and a location of a possible target. But this setup is risky against CCTV and potential witnesses. It'd sure be a lot easier if someone more trusted was the one doing the fishing. Someone least likely to be suspected. Now, one thing that I found interesting is how the bar scene works in Austin. Unlike anywhere I've lived, bartenders in Austin can work in multiple bars around the town, even if they're not owned by the same person. As a matter of fact, people are known to tag multiple bars looking for shifts on Instagram, and bars do the same in reverse when they're short-staffed. This is often a quick way to earn some extra cash in the bar scene. But this also means the bar may not have fully vetted their staff or even worked with some of them long enough to develop a significant line of trust. This might explain why people are being drugged in multiple bars in Austin and no one is being caught. It doesn't take much to be an entry-level bartender. There's even a chain of schools in the US called ABC bartending. According to some who've taken the course, it's cheap and only around 30 hours of time before you get your certificate. Probably easy enough to get part-time work with that, I assume. So if there is a crew drugging men in Austin, it wouldn't be hard to have a few people on that crew working shifts in multiple bars, dosing men they think might have a valuable pot to split. The hypothetical scenario could play out like this. Bartender doses a target, then lets the crew know about the potential target. Then when the target starts to feel the effects, the bartender might notice, inform the target that they've been overserved, and offer to call them an Uber. A few minutes later, the bartender could let the target know that their cab is out back in a dark and cameraless area. From there, it's all easy. No witnesses, no CCTV, no number dialed from the victim, just robbery and amnesia hours later. Unless the victim happens to OD. Is this what's been happening in Austin? I don't know. It's certainly more feasible to me than smiley face killers. But this is all just my opinion. But I did stumble upon some stuff that I found both alarming and very interesting. On February 12th of 2022, a man named Raj told KVUE ABC that he was drugged after a night out on West 6th Street in Austin. At around 10 p.m. he attended 3 bars before being separated from his 2 friends. But after the second bar, around midnight, Raj claims he doesn't remember a thing. The next moment he recalls is waking up at home at around 9 a.m. feeling super groggy. When he checked his phone, he realized that someone else's device was in his phone case. Raj got up and quickly went to the Apple store for help, only to find that his Find My Phone option had been turned off and his iCloud account email address had been changed. But then things got even weirder when he saw transactions in his email for over $2,000 sent to a random guy he'd never heard of. Raj's phone was stolen and his bank accounts were drained. They also made off with his credit card and emptied his debit card using Apple Wallet on his missing phone. They even tried to sell off all his stocks but were unsuccessful due to the market being closed for the weekend. When Raj searched the email that was used to make Venmo transactions, he found that random guy I mentioned before on Facebook and promptly got in touch. And that's when it got even stranger. This random guy also woke up with someone else's phone in his phone case. He too had been out that night on Rainy Street. This guy said his accounts were drained as well. Raj was out around $13,000 after his accounts were liquidated and his cards were swiped at places like Target and Walmart. Pretty scary situation to be in, especially with zero memory of what happened. Ryan Morrissey, the medical director for the Central Texas Poison Center, told CBS Austin that spiked drinks are a common thing. He said in most cases prescription medication is used, as GHB and Rohypnol are no longer the typical go-tos when it comes to this type of crime. He said nowadays it's a liquid called 1,4-butanediol. Yep, the chemical we talked about earlier. And as I stated, if you aren't tested within hours of ingesting it, it can be gone in as little as 12 hours. Raj later claimed on February 16th of 2022 in a Reddit post that 3 different people contacted him with similar experiences to his. 2 from the same Saturday night he was targeted, and 1 from October of 2021. On February 22nd, Raj updated his post to add that a few more victims had contacted him with similar stories. Police reports from 2022 show that 2 individuals were arrested for various crimes in relation to Raj, including drugging, robbery, and assault. As of December of 2023, lead detectives say the case is still ongoing. I want to make it crystal clear that these arrests were in relation to Raj and the 3 other victims that were drugged in Austin in 2022. There is zero concrete evidence that Sharon and Tamia are related to any of the other Lady Bird Lake cases, nor am I saying they are. Once again, it's my theory that these men were targeted, drugged, and robbed in a methodical, organized, and intentional way. All this time, local authorities haven't provided much of a comment while they continue to investigate, and the party line is that these tragic deaths were accidental. But I think there's much more to this than meets the eye. At the same time, there have been separate instances of drugging-related robberies around the country, as well as in downtown Austin. Before I get into this next part, Please know that I'm not personally accusing any particular individual of any wrongdoing, especially any acts these individuals have not already been arrested and charged with. I'm just disclosing facts of previously closed cases. I'm not saying that it's an absolute fact that the people I will discuss next are in any way related to the deaths at Lady Bird Lake. In fact, it should be noted that these individuals have not formally been charged with any crimes related to the lake, and investigators or detectives have not publicly tied them to any of those acts. Nevertheless, the fact that these drug-induced robberies have become so common around the country and in Texas generally is a sign of trouble that may not be going away anytime soon. So with all that said, let's get into this. On October 19th of 2022, Austin Police Department announced the out-of-state arrest of 44-year-old Sharon Jacobs and her 23-year-old daughter, Tamia Jacobs, for drugging and robbing 4 men in downtown Austin during February of 2022, 2 on the 11th and 2 on the 12th. All victims were either on Rainey Street or West 6th Street. Reports claim the women flew into Texas for the purpose of their accused crimes. Apparently, the women rented a car for this purpose. They were also reportedly even registered as drivers on rideshare apps. Sharon and Tamia Jacobs are accused of robbing more than $55,000 from multiple victims by drugging them with over-the-counter medications and posing as rideshare app drivers. There's no mention of how the men ended up getting drugged, but the crazy part is that 5 additional suspects are believed to be involved in this crime spree that saw transactions of the victims' money being made throughout Texas, Georgia, and even Tennessee. Tamia Jacobs was arrested in Fulton County, Georgia on October 10th of 2022. When her phone history was searched, they found that she had looked up different types of medication that can cause tiredness. Tamia's mother, Sharon Jacobs, was arrested in Bay County, Florida, on unrelated identity theft and larceny charges on August 30th of 2022. But that wasn't Sharon Jacobs' first crime of this nature. As a matter of fact, on July 5th of 2017, she and her escort friend Dorothy McGlathery were arrested in Atlanta after tricking a 22-year-old man into getting in their car. Sharon and Dorothy were pretending to be an Uber. Once he realized they weren't legit, he tried to exit their vehicle at a gas station, but Sharon and Dorothy brutally attacked him in an attempt to rob him. Luckily, a witness at a nearby restaurant called 911 and foiled their plans. When police searched the car the two were driving, they found a pink photo album filled with more than 100 credit cards from different victims, as well as a card reader. Sharon Jacobs was also arrested with Erica Williams in Florida for similar crimes in October of 2021 as well. It seems like Sharon has allegedly been teaming up with different people to rob men in multiple states, including the exact state, city, and streets where some of our victims at Lady Bird Lake went missing. Isn't that a strange coincidence? Could a similar scam potentially be connected to any of the bodies we talked about previously? Have APD and the medical examiner done enough to rule out the possibility that some of these men just may have been drugged before ending up in the water? I have no clue. Your guess is certainly as good as mine. As for what happened to Sharon Jacobs, well, according to a report, she was arrested in Baldwin County, Alabama as a fugitive of justice about a month after the last victim, John Christopher Hayes Clark, was found on April 15th of 2023. Since Sharon's arrest, there has been one other victim found that I haven't mentioned. That man's name is Moga. He was found on June 27th in Lady Bird Lake, but there's not a lot of information available on him. He was in his 20s. I have spoken to a member of his family and they're just not willing to speak publicly right now. But based on what I know, I personally don't believe Moga is connected for reasons that I will keep to myself, and that's just out of respect. There are a lot of missing details, but according to the APD report, we do know that Sharon worked in Austin with a crew of at least 6 other people according to police documents. And we still don't know the identity of those people. It doesn't appear like APD does either. If this is an organized crime crew, then I'm sure they'll continue to do what they do in her absence. Could a drug-facilitated crime be the fall of any of the men in Lady Bird Lake? If so, how often does this type of thing occur? Well, asking that question opened up a whole can of worms, let me tell you. Through my research, I simply wasn't prepared for how often this scam is pulled around the United States. I also wasn't prepared for how light the sentences are for the women convicted of drugging and robbing people. There are a ton of repeat offenders out there, almost always under the guise of an escort or some kind of taxi driver. And these women often work in pairs. I can't cover them all in this video, but for instance, There are people out there like Danette Colbert, who is literally accused of almost identical crimes as Sharon Jacobs in multiple cities across the U.S. I've personally spoke to and keep in contact with 3 of the victims she allegedly stung in New Orleans. There's also Dominique Berry. She was also based out of New Orleans, but she was drugging people all around the U.S. in order to rob them, and she did so with the help of her pimp, Randy Ruru Shank. Her crimes spanned through Louisiana, Texas, and Georgia too. The couple were reported to have robbed anywhere from 50 to 100 people throughout their crime spree. It all came to an end when a man tracked his stolen phone to a hotel in Sandy Springs, Georgia, which is odd considering that Sandy Springs is one of the places Sharon Jacobs was sending money to when she was allegedly out drugging and robbing men in Austin. One of Danette Colbert's victims also told me that he saw transactions of his money coming out of Nederland, Texas, or Nederland. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but that's the same town Right Price Chemicals and Jake's Fireworks were operating out of when they were selling BDO.
Oh, hell
What do I know?
no.
It could all be a coincidence. I do know Dominique Berry and Randy Shank are currently in jail as their drugging robberies resulted in the death of one of their victims. So these kind of crimes are not something to laugh about. These are not violence-less crimes. People can and do die because of them.
What is going on, and why can we not find any answers about what happened to our children? I mean, how would you like it if your children went out on a Friday night, Saturday night, and didn't come home for 3 or 4 or 5 days? Maybe 8 days, and then you find them dead, or you find them with huge injuries that they're going to live with for the rest of their lives that you cannot repair and you cannot fix. And the police department cannot tell you anything about what happened with your child.
Unacceptable.
Nothing. They have no answers other than they walked off. And it might be their fault that they went off this bridge, or they went off into the lake, or they went off into wherever.
Multiple people have gone missing with no change, no progression into the cases, ruling everything is accidental. And it's not. Something's going on. Something is. And I got to meet Jason's family, and it was like staring in a mirror with my family 4 years ago. There's so much pain coming back every day. I saw everything that they're going through.
Local authorities in Austin, and in particular around the Rainy Street area, claim they're putting their resources into improving the safety of the environment. In response to public calls for action on the alarming rate of deaths at the lake, the police have increased foot patrols in the Rainy Street area, and the city council has been trying to improve the lighting and the barriers on the trail.
I'm gonna go help my mom clean up, so I'm gonna take off, okay?
All right, thank you for coming up.
Thank you. And thank you for everybody that's in here. Talk to you later.
All right. Cricket Day, you know, I'm starting to lean that way myself after this. Because the only thing that I can keep going back to is Riley getting kicked out of the bar by himself. You know, like the way that he described that scenario about, okay, they watch him and they wait for him until it's kicked in his system, and then they arrange to have him thrown out, and then all right, let's finish this. It's almost
in order to enter the water, a person would need to climb over a fence and make their way down a relatively steep trail. This is not a situation where a drunk person would likely fall over the rail and just slide into the water. According to what I've been told by people who live in Austin, it would take a lot more effort to get from the trail to the water's edge, which is a factor that seems to have been widely overlooked in the statements from authorities so far. If there were security cameras on the trails, we no doubt would have captured the final moments of at least a few of the victims, and maybe it would have indeed shown them drunkenly stumbling along the trail, over the railing, down the bank, and into the water. But I don't believe these men just happened to wander out of a bar and magically end up in the water by accident. I believe there's a crime ring connected to this, but I don't have any solid proof. What I do know is that similar crimes have occurred across America. Most recently in New York City, where the deaths of 2 men who've been robbed and drugged has been ruled as a homicide. These 2 men were killed as they left bars in Hell's Kitchen. John Umberger, 33, and Julio Ramirez, 25, were killed after they left bars in Hell's Kitchen. Their assets were drained from their possession via the control of mobile devices, just like what happened in Austin. And Julio Ramirez's body was reportedly found in the backseat of a taxi. At first, police put the deaths down as accidental and moved on. Sound familiar? Thankfully, the family members of these men kept pushing until they found evidence in the form of a paper trail that showed the victims had been robbed around the time of their deaths. They took their findings to the police and had the case reopened. The deaths of these 2 men in New York has since seen the arrest of 6 individuals out of 10, named in a police document alleged to be connected. The other 4 people are sought for questioning. More than a dozen men were interviewed by the New York Times who claimed they too had been drugged and robbed in bars around New York, and a doctor who screened one of the men claimed GHB or something similar was indeed the drug used to incapacitate the victim. What's important to remember here is that the New York Times also printed an article that said, cops initially told the families of New York victims that the deaths were believed to be accidental. The medical examiners did not detect any so-called date rape drug or roofie in either man's system. As already mentioned, such substances are difficult to detect because they stay in a person's system for a very short time. And according to the Justice Department, routine drug and toxicology tests don't normally look for GHB. Of course, New York has its answers, and a clear picture is fast emerging there. If a similar crime ring is working in Austin, these people seem to move around and move fast. I'd guess they likely target multiple victims in one night as an MO. More people, more money. Then bounce to another state with their local foot soldiers on standby until the next round loops back. But again, it's all just speculation, just a theory. Meanwhile, because countless men have died and authorities have failed to find any suspects, the residents of Austin are left waiting to see whether any more men will be pulled from the deceptively calm waters at Lady Bird Lake. With so much speculation, and a community divided over whether or not the deaths are related via foul play, no one can be sure of what's really going on at Lady Bird Lake. But I smell bad intentions. Either way, the water has been very quiet lately with no more bodies turning up for months. Still, there's no swimming at Lady Bird Lake. I'm Mr. Black, and this is the disturbing truth.
That was so good, like, so well put together. I mean, that was terrible that all that's happened so many places to so many people, but that was a very well put together video. Like, shout out to Mr. Black, that was awesome. Like, immaculate work. And, I wanna show y'all something. So, I was messing around with, like, just different settings and filters, like, on, one of that my editing apps that I use, like, trying you'll just see when it comes up, to try to make a something more visible, you know? And, here's something that may look more clear than it did the other day. Okay, so this like is been really just heavy on my brain. Um, so I've been trying to like enhance it and make it more clear. And where this group of people come from is over there where JLR was at, that where the fence goes and and there's the little and it drops significantly, the abandoned building. The parking lot's right there next to the chain link fence, but you could see like when he was walking back and there was somebody sitting right there behind the wall. That's where they come from. Okay. Now, aside from that, we now are being told by um the timeline that the last time Riley seen on camera is at 9:57, and it's down there by the light pole on the second bridge, and he's jogging. So I went back and said, okay, well, that would mean that he's got to be on this video, right? I mean, that there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it if that is true. And at 9:55 on that 2-hour video, I think I see like Riley staggering and going in that direction, and then you don't see where he goes. And then this is what comes from that area that I see the staggering person. From 9:55 until 11:04 is the time gap. Yes, Junkenstein. Yes, I know. You're not gonna. I can. You are not like. I have done convinced myself. I've watched it in slow motion. I've watched it sped up. I've watched it with every filter you can think of, and this is what I see. Okay, I see three people, and four, including who I believe is Riley. They come from this area over there where the abandoned building is at. Okay, the little gap. I think there's two people on the outside, and I think Riley's in the middle. I think he's either got his arms around them or they're holding on to his arms. And there's another person in front, either carrying his legs or making sure that he doesn't. At this point, I don't know if he's walking at all. I can't tell. That's the only part I can't tell. But there's a person in front that has white, like knee high socks on. Okay. The reason I think it's Riley in the middle is because when he starts out right here, you can see white. And then when he gets further, like they're turning and they're going towards the wall, the shirt is black in the middle and there's the light color blue jeans. Well, Riley's shirt was black from behind and half of it was white and half of it was like, the brownish color from the front. But he's wearing light jeans and boots, almost like he's, out of it and they're guiding him because he's, you know, like the way that we just listened to it described there, like he's. And another thing, there's no way if he fell from anywhere that he should have fell and made it into the water. There's way too much embankment and to just land in the water. He had to, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, um, be put in there. You see four IYQ2? That's what I think too. Roddy, I'm glad you said that because I wasn't going to say nothing. But the one in the front looks like they don't have a shirt on, right? And he is wearing shorts. Yes, you're right. I'm not talking about Riley. I don't think Riley's the one with no shirt on. Riley's the one in the middle that they are all banding together to move because at this point he looks like he's dead weight. I think I see Riley's shirt. That the where it's white would be Riley's shirt from the front. That almost looks like a black pocket, but when they're turning and when they're turning Riley, you see black and I think his leg is dragging right here. See that way back? And now here comes another person. Now watch when they turn, which they're about to do right here. Now look, the light blue jeans and then Riley's shirt from the back. Like they're walking him, like he's I'm not saying he's unalived at this point. I'm just saying he's out of it. If it's him. Like, they're guiding him. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, I just want to be clear. Like, I know, I see. I have convinced myself. I see the shirt. Like, but the somebody in the front who's wearing white knee-high socks and like basketball shorts, gym shorts. I don't think he's wearing a shirt. Or if he is, he's got it like over his head and his back is revealed. And I think one of these is a female. I think the one on the end closest to us, it's got like the build of a female, but I could be wrong. No, where they came from was where the abandoned building and shit is at over there in the cut off to the where JLR like just goes in between the chain link and there's the abandoned building and then there's like a 30-foot drop. That's where they just came from. No, I don't know. I have no idea. There's supposedly he wasn't with anybody. He was by himself, Junkenstein. The 8 people that he was at the bar with stayed at the bar. Nobody went with him. He went by himself. He got kicked out of the bar by the I don't know if it was the bodyguard staff, bartenders, somebody that was employed by the bar, kicked him out. No, it's okay. I don't mind. I just his shirt is really unique, and that's been a big thing that has been like debated because there's been like homeless people saying that they've seen other homeless people wearing it, and it's been a big cause of speculation. And then when he was found yesterday, he had it on, so it was like, oh, okay, well, all the shirt theories are shit. Well, yeah, I didn't believe him to begin with because it weird. Like, I mean, even for a homeless person, that's fucking weird. Like, who picks up a shirt covered in throw up and puts it on and rocks it? Like, uh. I mean, but hey, I guess stranger things have happened. I just didn't believe it, considering they could never pin down where it came from. It was always a person telling another person telling another person. I mean, I just didn't believe it. It didn't sell me. Uh, oh no shit. The one right that was standing by where the other two were seemed like they were in an altercation. Do remember that. No shit. I wonder if he had knee-high socks like that. But the only thing that is hard for me to wrap my head around is why would they go through all this or whatever this is, ultimately, and he still have his watch and I believe, unless anybody's heard differently, his phone and why would they not rob him? That doesn't make sense. I'm at a loss for words because I know what I feel like I see here, but he shouldn't have had any of his belongings on him if the MO is what this looks like. I'm just confused, utterly confused, unless they've like drained his debit card and it hasn't been, it hasn't been detected yet. But I don't. That would be crazy. Like you would think the banks and stuff would be being monitored, but I mean, stranger things have happened. I don't understand what. I know he wasn't. That's what I'm saying. Well, I don't understand why this would make sense. If he was drunk on the ground, why not just leave him where he was at? Why go to the extent to put him in the water and not rob him? I don't know this. That's why I can't wrap my head around it and make it make sense because I don't understand. Like I just and I can't. It's making me crazy. Like I've watched this more times than it's probably healthy. But what for? Really? Are people just really that fucking mean now? Mm. So then what do you think we're looking at here, Eddie? What do you see? Like no, I'm not being I'm genuinely like what do you see as like what do you think they're doing? Why are they all huddled up? Like what do you see? Oh my god, that's mean. Exactly, which makes no sense. It for this, if it was foul play, you would almost guarantee that they would definitely yeeted that phone and that watch. I agree, yeah, and that could be what's happening here. But uh, okay, let's say it's not him. What does it look like to you the three people are doing? Well, his phone last pinged literally right here, like just near like maybe 10 feet from where they go out of camera view at, is where his phone was last pinged and where the debit card was found. But he was found 14 days later, about 8 miles up the river yesterday. Which makes sense though, because there's a wicked current in the river, and but like right here is where according to the metadata, everything lines up that he went in right here. Right. Exactly that, because the last thing that he was seen doing on camera, according to the before he was found, the most recent press release that his stepdad gave that I listened to, said that he seen him next underneath that light pole right before the 14-foot 3 inches sign before the James Patterson Bridge, not the second bridge, and that he was looking at his phone and then he's never seen again after looking at his phone. Don't know what happened from that point. And that he before that he was jogging. You think? But would they just unalive him and not rob him? Like I'm flabbergasted that all of those gimme, 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 homeless people right there, and they wouldn't have just helped themselves unless they know, like, oh, iPhone is easily tracked, and they got enough common sense to know that we can look at this kid and know that somebody's going to be looking for him, and that's why. But I don't. Something's just. I feel like I'm missing a piece to where I can just be at ease with it, and I haven't found it yet or haven't heard it yet. I just He didn't fall in right here unless he fell in down there where that abandoned building is, like he tried to cut off away from everybody and had to take a pee or something and didn't want to, wanted to be discreet about it. He absolutely wholeheartedly could have fell and hit that drop, but he wouldn't have landed in the water. Even if the water was at the highest point it's ever been, he wouldn't have been in the water. And ain't nobody going to convince me otherwise. Not right here. Not along this right here, from this bridge to this bridge. No fucking way. Way too much brush and trees and embankment. Way too much. It's way too far. He didn't just stumble upon it unless he was trying to get to the water to like cool off or something. But from up here, this level, no way he fucking fell and landed in the water. No way. Didn't happen. I do too. Yeah, that's what I see too. I like you too. They're walking backwards. The person in the front, and they don't have no shirt on. But I can't figure out what they're doing. Because they curve. They're on the sidewalk and now they're curving off into the grass. Well, that made me wonder too, because didn't there supposedly like a couple or something that said they seen him leaning over the wall, throwing up? I wonder if that factors in anywhere with what's happening right now. And maybe they just panicked because they knew that they were the last ones with him, and they don't have a good track record with the police anyway, being the homeless that is, and they didn't want to be, considered suspicious just because of how it looks, and that's why they damn sure didn't take anything because they didn't want to, it wasn't like that. They were actually trying to help, like, because this doesn't look nefarious. This doesn't look like he's struggling or they're like dragging him. This looks like a drunk guy that is being helped by, at this point, it doesn't matter whether strangers, it looks like they're helping him out, helping him walk or whatever. It doesn't look like he's being drug or like, to me the body language doesn't scream like they're not dragging him and with his head hanging, like they're if it's what I see, they're I don't know. I can't make it make sense. What? He left on his own? I haven't heard that. What? Yeah, I think the same thing. I like you too. They're being careful. And somebody that's gonna just take him and dump him in the river, why would it matter if he gets bumped and scraped along the way? It just something is just off. And I still believe that Riley was absolutely from the original fall when he first that first set of surveillance camera, I absolutely wholeheartedly don't doubt that he was concussed as hard as he went down and hit his head. Um, you know, who's to say that he didn't fall again somewhere in between this bridge and that one? And you know, all it takes is going to sleep or hitting your head again, and he could have been, you know, comatose in a sense. It wouldn't take anything major. He could have just bumped it again, really, or just sat still and like fell asleep and nodded out, and that could have, you know, brought on the whatever the concussion, you know, the unconsciousness. And maybe they'd walk by and panicked and thought, "Oh my God, they know there's cameras, and if they are homeless and frequent the area, it doesn't look good, and they just want to get. Maybe they were just trying to get him away from where they pitched their tent. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why it wouldn't make more sense just to call 911, but and it would have been easier to, you know, to do that from down there. Why bring them to the bridge and make a point to walk past the camera? That's what's strange to me too, because if they frequent this area, they know that camera's there. You know, they know it's there. And then the police come walking by like almost immediately right after this. It's so bizarre. So bizarre. Because that's where they come from, is where that cutoff was at, you know? So strange. And I've never seen surveillance footage look like the way this does. It's the most frustrating thing. But it's almost like they're like I've never I mean I've seen grainy and laggy, but this it's like they're freaking ghosts, you know? Like it's very bizarre and it's very hard to try to stabilize it. I mean, I've tried several different softwares and apps and it's like it's almost like it makes it worse. It's very bizarre. I don't know. See, because they like, you know, they get closer, it should get clearer, and it's like they get blurry, right? It's so bizarre. Like, and then at some point, it even looks like they're floating. It's very strange. Oh man, sleepy. Oh god, hold on. Yikes.
People that lose their friends don't act like this. They would be here. Start talking and start trying to find your damn brother. And if you start talking and start trying to find your damn brother. And if you want to debate me anytime,
Oh my gosh, I have to warn you. This is about a footage captured from the surveillance just before Riley Strain went missing. Video at the end of this video. And wait till you see at the end what I saw. So this is a different bridge view camera that they believe allegedly this was the scooter in the Riley video. You see Riley perhaps speak to the homeless man, which they've already interviewed, and Riley walks on. But then you see a little bit later that these potential people from the scooters are carrying something very heavy. And I don't know if
This is my. Oh, this is.
Y'all, this. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, I have to warn you. This is about a footage captured from the surveillance just before Riley Strain went.
All right, guys, we gotta.
What if I told you that instead of setting up a green screen, you can just click a button into script and...
JLR investigates. All right, live at the scene. What was found? What was that?
The dog.
Yeah. We're about to find out. So stick with me. JLR investigates. The gates are closed up there, and they're on. All right, they're calling law enforcement, folks. That's what I'm told. I don't know what's going on here, folks, but they're calling law enforcement. Something's going on. Tell me what's going on. What do they see?
No, we just stepped on a big soft spot, like where stuff's been recently packed.
Really?
Yikes. A big spot.
Yikes. So they just stepped on a soft spot. Oh, man. You heard that, folks. Something's going on here. Okay, they hit on. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. All right, folks. JLR investigates. So I am at Rockland Recreation Center, Hendersonville. This is the main parking lot here, and they have now kicked all the volunteers out of the area. The dog came in, and apparently the dog might have hit on something. It did. So people are saying to me that it did. So they kicked us all out. Now what happens at this point? Possibly law enforcement might arrive, or they bring the next chain of command to evaluate the situation, but we are out here. What's going on here? See what happens.
I think that we're ending the search right now.
I think law enforcement's coming.
Because of
I think they're telling the volunteers that's it, right? There's something going on. Okay, so that's Seth Rogers right there. That's Seth Rogers. That's Sebastian's father. So we'll see exactly what's going on. The organizer there, kind of told me to step away with the camera, so they're discussing things. I don't know what's going on, what they're discussing. I'll find out who exactly found this mound. She's on the phone at the end. Seth Rogers has arrived again. He's been here I've seen him here all day. He's the first person here. What's the next step? What's going on? They contacted LE?
Well, honestly, this is private property, which I knew that. I thought everybody did. And it is locked. But I don't think that we can go to jail for this. But
yeah. So.
Who did that? Okay, so we're going to the next one? No, that's where we were this morning.
Where was that on the other side there? What's that?
Anchor, River Road.
River Road. Where's that on the other side of it?
River Road. Just put in there the rotor.
Rotor. So what's the point of going over there? Staging ground?
That's where our center is, like where our meat center is.
Gotcha.
Because we got another better place that we need to go to. Oh God, the dogs are still going.
Got you.
Would you get in your car and go, please? No. We're done.
I'm
No.
walking.
No, get in with her.
I'm car sick. I can't walk right now.
Well, then go now, please.
What's going on?
Nothing. We're on a federal property.
Oh,
We
that's on
didn't have
everyone.
permission. Fish and Wildlife.
Gotcha.
And I'm the PD rodeo. Where are you going?
Going up to the end of the road. They want everybody off the road. So, yeah, they're telling everybody to get off the road now. They're telling everybody, get in your cars now. Get off the road. Get off the road. So I'm going to walk up to the front of the road. And we'll see what happens here. We'll see if someone arrives. We'll see, we'll see what's going on. But they don't want anyone on the property. So something's going on, folks. They're kicking everyone off. Or maybe they just want everybody off. Telling all vehicles to leave. All the vehicles are leaving. I'm going to walk to the front of the gate. I think they're going over to right over there, Rudder and River.
You want to ride?
No, I'm going to just walk them in it because it's not that far.
Okay, where is it?
I think it's right down there where they're all going to go back over. I don't know what's going on here. Apparently they're kicked everyone off. Possibly law enforcement might be arriving. I don't know. Okay. Or they just don't want people here. What do you think, folks? Something to something or nothing to nothing? My vehicle's taken care of right now. Our vehicles are leaving. Where's everyone going? Huh? Everyone's leaving? Gotcha. Have a good day. You run the show?
What?
You run?
I'm not running it? No, I'm just here to help out with anything.
Gotcha.
They're really tough. They're really got to get out of the and get. I don't tell her to come on out of that parking lot. That they are caught. Been caught on.
Gotcha.
The rudder.
Let me hop in with you.
Yeah. Come on.
Thank you.
Yes, because they are really that wind.
Ketamine therapy worked instantly. It was like I went from living in black and white, and suddenly it took.
Alright, so this was about they just didn't want people on there or something?
It's private property, but you know what? This is everything about that. God. I mean, really? It's that big of a deal? But she
So they
should've
were
let
just
it
told
down.
not to go on there.
But they were unlocking the door. So why would somebody called, basically, and she's over there saying all this crap and yelling and got to get us out of here. So she's like, everybody off the property because we're about to go to jail. I'm not going to jail. I mean, I've never been arrested.
So what about tell me the situation about what was found. What was that?
The dog, it did hit on something. I mean, is it could be something that was blown over that looked like.
Are they bringing LE?
Apparently they were, because hell, somebody called. They were going to have us put out.
Yeah.
And we had to get out now. I mean, I was like, okay, we got to go.
Gotcha.
But no, there was something. There's a fresh mound of something. I don't know what it could be, but the dog did hit it. It alerted. I've seen the alert. You've seen the alert. And there was something that had some.
Well, what brought them to that location?
A tip.
A tip.
Yes.
A tip from.
That was called in. I just knew a tip was called in on that one. And then there's. This is where we're meeting here.
Yeah.
And we have a few more places that we're going to go.
Okay, so there's multiple searches.
There's another one that was never searched that should have been searched
Gotcha.
to begin with, and it never was.
Gotcha.
When the initial searching was went on the 5-mile radius. Come on, car, keep coming. They don't want to. So the 5-mile radius search, the 5-mile radius search, it was just a little bit out of that grid part, which I did see it was shown to me earlier this morning. That was a big screw up. Like,
Gotcha.
But they never searched. There's a cave, I think.
A cave?
There's a cave and some other things. But we were initially going to be. I'll show you the pictures. We're going to go.
Thank you for the ride.
You're welcome. I hope you take it.
All right, we're gonna go down into the water here and see what's going on. Apparently, they're just telling everyone to get off the property. We weren't supposed to be there. They're told somebody eventually said to leave there or something's going on with what was found. Either or, everyone left. Even the Cajun Navy, Seth's father, they all left. Everybody left. So they're out there. Everyone's out there searching volunteers, and it was that general area up there, looking around for Sebastian. Hello. What's this name? Hickory? Old Hickory Lake?
This is Old Hickory Lake.
Okay.
It's a Rudder restaurant.
Rudder. Okay. So that's the Rudder restaurant. This is Old Hickory Lake, folks. And what I was told was all those trees up there that fell down and everything like that was like tornado damage from the tornado. So apparently all the volunteers have regrouped here. They plan to go to other locations. People fishing out here. It did warm up. It was a little cool this morning. Let's spin the camera around. I actually got a wind muffler, so maybe you guys can hear, maybe you guys can't. I appreciate the support individual. I'll give him a shout out when on another day. But the wind muffler on the helps us be able to hear what's going on with this situation. When they go to the next search site or whatever comes out of that, we'll see what happens. We'll see. Yeah, the searches and the organizers have all regrouped over here in the parking lot, waiting for the next step on where to go. This search for Sebastian continues. If you're in the area and you want to help volunteer, you want to look, come on out and help make a difference. Try to find this 15-year-old boy who's still missing. Make a difference. You can help. Spread awareness. Out in the field, JLR investigates. All right, so I'm gonna sign off. If something breaks on this, I don't know what's going on with that scent, but maybe that was the reason why they told us to leave, because they're gonna bring people in. I'm gonna go look down here at the road, but I haven't seen anyone arrive yet. Don't know what's going on. All I am is documenting it for all of us to see. I had my eyes peeled all over the place for Sebastian, and don't give up hope. Love always conquers hate, right? Good over evil. Good always prevails. Good always prevails. And the community across the state of Tennessee, across the world, a lot of you guys are watching from around the country. We want to find Sebastian, and we're not going to give up. We're bringing the parent public awareness. I got to meet his biological dad. I mean, he's devastated, but he's determined. He's determined to find what happened. He's determined to find out what happened. It's over this location right over here. Well, I don't see, like, I don't know, maybe that was nothing of nothing as far as organizers are here, search people are here. All right, what I'll do is I'm going to sign off, try to get some intel and information, and if authorities arrive or anyone arrives or any information that, news search or whatever, I'll re-live stream. All right, I'm going to charge up the phone, get something to drink, use the restroom. I'll be back in a bit. JLR Investigates. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Consider subbing. The hunt for Sebastian continues. Be back in a bit. Bye.